on the key point. We shall also look at the Attorney General's advice against money laundering investigations into the affairs of Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. This follows a determination by the Office of the Attorney General, the request by the Office of the Special Prosecutor to the Economic and Organized Crime Office to initiate money laundering investigations into the affairs of Cecilia Dapaah is without basis. Yes. I have a number of people joining us on this matter, and whether this is the end of this case. If there are other aspects being investigated, what are those? Can the investigations that are ongoing, aside from this money laundering one that Attorney General says it's without basis, can those other investigations establish the source of these monies stolen and retrieved in Cecilia Dapaah's house and bedroom? That's a conversation that we'll have this morning. In the interest of you and I, the Ghanaian people, I want to say thank you very much for staying with us here on Key Point. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. My name is Alfred Ocansey. My guests will be joining me. We'll start the conversation in a few minutes. Stay with us.
With your last cash left for the month, you decide to get a chicken bucket for the family. So you hop in your car and pay for the petrol to get to the drive-thru. Then you pay for the food. But 20 minutes later, that precious bucket of chicken is now a bucket of bones. Or you pay once right on your phone with the MyGoTV app to keep the whole family smiling for an entire month. For unbeatable value for money entertainment,
ooh, I love this.
There's only one way to go. GoTV. Love it.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
What makes your work difficult?
One major thing that is not giving the committee an encouragement is the implementation of our recommendations. Procurement is an area where government loses a lot of money.
Yeah, you caused the arrest of 2 people. Where did you derive the power to do that?
On the spot, when we know that Officer A is not telling the truth, we can hand over this officer to the police and then ask the police in Parliament to prosecute them. I can assure you that the report of the Auditor General on the COVID-19 expenditure is before the committee. They will be sitting on it.
Hot Issues shows Sundays at 2 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
I just want to tell my mom that I love her. You know, she's been a great mom.
Sunday, the 12th of May is the day set aside to celebrate Mother's Day. TV3 and 3FM 92.7 gives you the chance to make it memorable for Mama with the exclusive event Dining with Mama at the plush Tomric Hotel, East Legon from 1 p.m. Time to celebrate your incredible mothers and mother figures. Win great prizes while enjoying delicious food and drinks, live band music, artiste performances, and games. Join us at Dining with Mama on Sunday, May 12th at 1 p.m. Rate is single 350 Ghana cedis and double 600 Ghana cedis. Tickets are available at the front desk of TV3 and Tomric Hotel, East Legon. For reservations, please call 0532 200 927 or 0532 300 927. TV3 and 3FM wishes all mothers a happy Mother's Day.
Mama, God bless you, Mama. Mama. God bless you, Mama.
She became very popular during the COVID-19 pandemic here in Ghana. She graced your TV screens all the way through the week, teaching a multitude of children how to read on TV. Miss P is her name, and today she's become a global educationist. But if I ask you your fondest memory, that's those 12 months or that 1 year period, what would you say?
I think it's the children patting me and saying, Miss P, I want to wee wee. And they are so innocent, they didn't know it was a live recording.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She is bringing all the tricks that your kids need to be better versions of themselves.
Even the ethos of what my school is built on is to equip a child to the point where they can have numerous options and decide that this is what I want to do, not that this is what I'm left with.
Make a date with us here on Saturday, 3 p.m. right here on TV3 with me, Cookie. It is Today's Woman.
Today's Woman with Cookie T shows Saturdays at 3 p.m. on TV3.
In a world where emotions run wild, only the bravest hearts dare to find true love. Join 14 hopeful singles as they embark on the journey of a lifetime, all under one roof in search of their perfect match. Tune in every Monday to Friday at 3 p.m. for the daily updates and diary sessions. Saturdays at 8 p.m. for the big reunion and 10 p.m. for the secret nominations. On TV3 for all the drama, romance and surprises. Plus, catch every moment of the action with our 24/7 live stream on pmextra.tv. Get ready to laugh, cry and cheer as our housemates navigate the highs and lows of romance and the quest for love. It's a roller coaster ride of emotions you won't want to miss. Perfect Match Extra, love, betrayal, heartbreak and triumph.
Perfect Match Extra on TV3 and pmextra.tv.
Sponsored by Close Up for your important oral care needs. Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup for your soft and glowing skin.
Flora Tissue, Top Choco, Bell Ice,
Heaven Insecticide Spray and Coil,
Frutelli Calipo,
Kitia Furniture and Deco.
Supported by Dragnet, Empire Kitchens.
The Lord said to me that, Della, I am going to make you a high-tension naked wire.
Week after week, they've poured their hearts into keeping the stage alive. Their determination to showcase their talents never wavers.
We're waiting for what it's going to be like on the finale.
This week, they are going all out to demonstrate why they deserve a spot in the grand finale at the National Theatre on May 18th. Make a date for this episode of Talented Kids this Sunday at 3 p.m. To ensure your favorite contestants secure a spot in the finale, dial *713*13# or download the TV3 Reality app to vote. Talented Kids, free to play.
Talented Kids shows on TV3 Sunday at 4 p.m.
Powered by Indomie. Sponsored by Coco Plus,
Frutelli Calipo,
Vitamilk,
Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, CTIW Foundation,
Kivo Foods,
and supported by
Your favorite programs on TV3 are switching times. Sports Station, which reviews the best sports action on Monday, is now at 5 p.m. And GPL Express eases you into the weekend at 2 p.m. on Saturday. So same shows, revamped, more analytical, but more engaging and better on TV3.
The news never stops. If it's not breaking, developing, the news lends itself to significant analysis, broad context through explainers, and the features that give stories more life. That's what we offer on Weekend Central. News, features, analysis, the full package. Weekend Central, Saturdays and Sundays at 12 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
2, 3, can we do it together? You don't feel that vibe. I don't feel that vibe. Energy. You don't feel that vibe.
Everything fresh, crisp and tight on the road to Telesound Ghana Music Awards 2024. Lego.
to the Telecel Ghana Music Awards. Show Saturdays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Are you ready to win solid cash every day with Cash Out? Be a proud winner of lots of cash simply by watching or listening to any of Media General stations. That's right, you are being rewarded for your loyalty. Tune in to all Media General brands. TV3, 3FM 92.7, Onia TV, Onia FM 95.1, all in Accra, Akuma FM 87.9 in Kumasi, and Connect FM 97.1 in Takrady. To enter the Cash Out raffle on your favorite Media General station, just dial *439#. Follow the prompt and pick your favorite platform to enter. Voila! You are now eligible to become one of the 10 lucky winners of a cool cash prize. Remember, this is every day, all day on your favorite Media General station. Cash Out and Great Big. This is in partnership with Radio Entertainment Limited. This promo is regulated by the National Lottery Authority on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Key Point here on TV3. We're also live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Remember, you can share your thoughts with us on Facebook at 3FM 927. It's a conversation that reflects on the realities that we're faced with as a people, beyond the politics of it, so that we can make sense of this democracy that we have been experimenting over the period. And remember, you can also join us on X at TV3 Ghana, and I would share your thoughts and also your comments on the issues that we are going to be talking about this morning. Welcome, if you just joined us. We have a number of issues on the menu this morning. My name is Alfred Ocansey. I guess will be joining me in a bit. This week, start off quickly with this conversation on what happened in the Ejisu by-election. It's one that we had been looking forward to for a while after the unfortunate incident, the demise of Dr. John Kuma, the sitting member of parliament for that constituency. In the run-up to it, the three-time member of parliament for this constituency, Kwabena Osu-Ediome, declared his intentions to go independent. Now, what we do know is that he has also declared his support for Alan Kojo Chamanting. So, essentially, you would say by extension, maybe contesting for and on behalf and in the interest of the movement for change. We would have a conversation on this, plus that one incident that happened on that day, and how threatening or otherwise it is when it comes to electoral sanctity, transparency, and ensuring that we guard against any forms of actions that would send signals of inducement or worry in any way that compromises our elections. But I want to show you this. This is how the Ejisu itself as a constituency has voted over the period. Take a look at this. Since 2008, I mean, in 2012, for instance, Kwabena Osu-Ediome, who contested as an independent candidate this time, won with 80.52% of the total valid vote cast. That's 51,976. As against the NDC's Augustus Andrews, 11,788. That's 18.26. There's a reason why the NDC did not even go and waste its resources in that by-election. Because if you look at the electoral history of this constituency, the NDC doesn't do much. In fact, relatively negligible, both in the parliamentary and presidential. And then, when you look at presidential 2012, look at that, 80.3% for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And then just around the same percentage that the parliamentary candidate got, John Mahama got the same. Kwabena Osu-Ediome 2016, Take a look at that. An increase actually in what happened in 2012. So you can pin that to a number of factors. In every election, you would have the eligible voters population in those constituencies increasing. So yes, that also reflects in the increase in the votes that Kwabena Osuediome, as an NPP candidate then in 2016, got with 83.79%, 54,508. That's of the valid votes cast. And then you have Gloria Akoshi. And one thing that the NDC has done over the period is that they always change their candidates. They haven't maintained a candidate in that Ejisu constituency over subsequent elections. Let's look at what happened in the presidential as well. And it's a trend that runs through. The percentage that the parliamentary candidate of the MPP gets, you will see that also reflected in that of the presidential as well. And that is what you see reflected. Let's look at 2020. It was the 2020 that the late John Kuma won the primaries. And this was after a number of issues that Kwabena Osuediome raised with respect to the album, the electoral album that was used for that election. And so, reason why he lost, and he did not take it kindly. And so his resignation, this is one of the issues that led to that. John Kuma won the primaries, won the 2020 parliamentary elections with 68,326. 68,326. As against the NDC's George Huze, 14,164. So the NDCs really didn't have much of a reason to even contest this by-election. Then the same reflected in the presidential, and you see the trend over the period in that constituency. But with this Ejisu by-election, you had Kwabena Boateng of the NPP polling some 27,782 of the valid vote cast, representing, based on the Electoral Commission's own analysis, 51.8, beg your pardon. That's against 21,536 Kwabena Osuediome. 43.3%. And bear in mind, the voter turnout this time around, as we've seen in a number of the by-elections, was about 49.1%. So obviously, that accounts for the low turnouts that we saw. In general elections, the turnout is mostly higher. But there is a story in there. Because apparently we understand that the Tuesday was a market day in the Ejisu constituency. So you would expect that people would attend to their daily bread before thinking about any election for that matter. Does this really give an indication of what's going to be happening in election 2024? Or this is just a by-election and the MPP has won and nothing else? This is the first conversation that we would have this morning here on Key Point. Also live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Joining me in studio is lawyer Kingsley Amwakwa Boydu, who is a private legal practitioner and a member of the New Patriotic Party. Counsel, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Also joining us, Nana Ohene Into, is a former General Secretary of the NPP, and in fact a number of things, including an ace journalist for that matter. This job that I'm doing, he's done before. And many other things that he's done, both in his personal capacity and in the development of this country in his own contributions. He is currently the senior advisor to Alan Kojo Chemanting, the leader of the Movement for Change. Nana Oheningto, good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Let me also welcome Martin Kwebu, private legal practitioner, leader of one of 3 individual bondholder groups, and the convener for the Kumi Prekurilo demonstration. I always say that is one of the foremost human rights lawyers that we have in this country. That has not been contested as yet.
Hey, Mr. Ocansey.
Martin Kwebu, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, good to be here. We're always learning. Call me rookie human rights lawyer. Rookie.
You know, I didn't know that your full name is Martin Luther King Kwebu. That's the full name, isn't it? Martin Luther. Martin Luther.
Yeah.
Martin Luther Kwebu.
Yeah.
I think I should be saying that instead of just...
I'll make it simple. Simple. Thank you.
Professor Bafwa Jimendia is going to be joining us on Zoom in a bit. He's a governance expert, former advisor on governance at the United Nations. Sami Jemfi is National Communications Officer of the NDC. He will be joining me as well in a bit. But let me start off with you, Lawyer Markwa, on this by-election and the aftermath. We saw, yes, your candidate won, but then again, it's not the kind of showing that the MPP has had in that constituency over the period with the numbers in terms of percentages and so on. But bearing in mind the low voter turnout as well that came in there. Now, do you, as a party, after assessing the outcome of this by-election, get the sense that there's a lot more work in a constituency that you should have even gone to sleep and still won in the first place?
Thank you. Good morning to my fellow panelists and to viewers and listeners. Ejisu by-elections, as you said, the turnout was low. And then you were saying that there was a market day as well. And so people went to take care of their daily bread. Besides that, there were teething issues. And we have to look at those. And these are real issues. Now, you see, after every election, no matter how small it is, even nowadays, even university elections, even law school elections, after that, we sit down and assess it and analyze it to see what could and could not, what could be done to make it better. For this, you have both Honorable Eduomi and Kwabena Boateng coming from the same stock. Definitely. There's going to be a split in political fortunes there. And so what you see reflected that I was of no doubt that MPP would take the seat or retain the seat.
You have no doubt?
You
were going to win.
Now, the issue is that Mr. Diomi has been a member of parliament in that constituency for 3 terms. That's 12 years of engagement, one-on-one, in the constituency. And then he has been a deputy minister for roads. So definitely 1 or 2 roads passing through there would have his footprints on that. And if he goes to any constituency, he should be able to point that this is as a result of me being an MP here, and that is a result of me being an MP here. He's an indigenous of the person. So anyone who, and I doubt if that was a party position, it wasn't, but anyone who would assume that, oh, it will be a walk in the park. No, it will not be a walk in the park. Definitely not. Then again, the government has been in power for almost 8 years now. Now, for 8 years, definitely, because you are dealing with human beings, there will be 1 or 2 things that someone will not be happy about. Okay? And then he personally has roots there. There are people that no matter what, they would vote for him.
Okay.
So the take home after this election is that, and I re-echo what the party chairman said, there has to be several acts at reconciliation.
Reconciliation.
Exactly.
Okay.
If we are able to get some of those who voted for him, very good for us. If you're able to, if you manage to get even him to come back, it is good. Because then, we do not, if you look at it, the 27 and his own should have come, all of that should have come to the party. You see, all of that should have come to the party.
You mean the 21,536
and
that Kwabena Osu-Diome got?
Exactly.
I see.
Okay, so
all of it
should have come to the party. Exactly.
Not possible.
How is it not possible? That is what I see. We were getting 82%. And so for you to say that, no.
It's not like
you see, so that is what we need to work at realistically. So that if you're able to get that, you see, for parliamentary seat, it's a no-brainer. MPP retain it. Now let's distinguish that from the presidential. Okay? Now if you look at the presidential, the parliamentary seat is first past the post, isn't it? Presidential is 50% plus one. So there is even more work to be done for the 50% plus one because every vote counts. You see, so that is the posture of the party after this election. If you have to learn something from this.
Great. I mean, I acknowledge the presence of Sami Jemfi, he's National Communications Officer of the NDC. Jeffrey, good morning. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Right.
Good morning to all panelists.
Indeed.
Good morning.
Right. So, but if you look at it, you had to do quite some work.
Obviously.
A lot of work in a constituency that is your stronghold. But then marshalling all your arsenals there, but the president, the vice president, all the roads you had to construct overnight, and all of these miraculous projects you do.
I don't know if you're talking about another constituency or Ejisu.
The Ejisu constituency.
I don't know of any road constructed overnight.
Oh, we'll show you.
I don't know that. And for there to be
don't worry.
an election
we
for
have,
the president to come there, he goes in all of them,
you indicated you don't know, but that doesn't mean it didn't take place. But
well, I'm saying I don't know of that.
I'll show you videos.
Now,
there. Okay.
Now, what we are saying is that there's lesson to be learned from every election.
Right.
Even if we had 90%,
okay,
there will still be lessons to be learned from that. It means that we still have to get the temper. I'm saying, as for the parliamentary seat, it's not going to go away. The presidential, that is 50% plus one.
Right.
We have to do everything in our arsenal to make sure that we are getting everyone. That is work to be done. You shouldn't take any elections for granted. You shouldn't take any constituency for granted. You shouldn't take anyone for granted. So it's not that it is something that we are now coming to realize. No, it is work that is between now and December. Remember, it's about a few months away. Okay, so it's a work. It is not something new. It's work that needs to be done, and we are working at it. Remember, we said that the party chairman said that we need to sit down, have discussions, and because we are the elderly, we need to approach Honorable Odiomi. We don't wait for him to approach.
Okay.
And even doing that, it's not in the open. It is sitting down at the background and talking and making sure things are done. And I'm saying, if we even manage to get half of this, we have done well.
Right. Okay.
And that is our approach.
Well, this is just the outcome of this election is just one part of this conversation in that just want to talk about. We'll dovetail into or segue into the other aspect of this action or the act by the Member of Parliament for the Kwadaso constituency. But Nana, let me bring you in here at this point on this matter because this Kwabena Osu-Diome contested as an independent candidate, but obviously with the support of the Movement for Change, right?
Yes.
If I'm right.
Yeah.
He's now declared his support for Lanchemanting's Movement for Change. So he's a member of the Movement for Change.
Right.
Now, looking at the election and how things played out, do you also suspect that really, even though you put in quite some work, some things may have gone to your favor if the measures were put in place right?
Well, thank you very much. I think that the election in Ejisu last Tuesday makes a very, very strong statement about, first of all, what people within communities, people who are represented by elected officials, think right now. I mean, we have always had the situation where we know elected officials represent people. But now the statement is being made so very forcefully that we in this community, this is the person we believe would represent our best interest. To the extent that if you consider that Ejisu is almost 100% MPP stronghold, and such development has happened, I think it sort of sends a signal where Ghanaians are at the moment, as far as partisan politicking, multi-party democracy, representation of people and their interests are concerned. If people were to get stuck simply because they were born into an MPP, into an NDC, they were born into a party family, and that's about it, I don't think you would have seen what happened. And for MPP especially, the thinking, the mentality has been that as far as Ashanti region especially is concerned, even if you put, sorry to say, a goat or a cockerel.
Well, that has been said before.
A lot of times they would win. NPP did win the by-election, yes. But that completely shatters that kind of notion. Because if that were the case, once you step out of the party, and when Alan stepped out of the party, I remember very important personalities of the party like Honorable Kwamina Bartels saying on TV that once Alan stepped out of the party, his political career is finished, he's dead. So by that logic, one would have expected that as soon as Aduomi announced that he was going to go independent, he probably won't even get 10% or 2% or 1%. But that's not what we've seen. So really, I am taking Ejisu as a microcosm of what possibly is reverberating through the whole country, especially in MPP strongholds. This phenomenon, I have been General Secretary of MPP before, and I saw it coming.
You saw it coming?
A long time ago.
This
phenomenon where the will of people will prevail as against what party big shots think. I saw it coming. And indeed, at some point, I even had issues with some of the leadership personalities within the party as far back as 2008.
That far?
As far back as 2008. There were issues with party primaries in Bekwai, Bosome Frehon, Offenso South, Nkoko, and a few other places. Especially in the case of Offenso South, Bekwai, and Nkoko. I had told the party leadership that we're going to go get somebody who had come through a by-election to go unopposed, because that is the party convention. But the dynamics on the ground were that if you get this person to go unopposed, we will vote against him. We want a primary where we will choose our own candidate. The decision was taken, and then the then party chairman sends a counter instruction to the region and the constituency to go ahead and acclaim the MP, whom the community said they did not want. They chased them out of Offenso with machetes and sticks.
The executives?
Yes. The regional chairman then, the regional organizer, and some other executives who had attempted to declare the MP unopposed. They chased them out. If the regional chairman then hadn't run into his car quickly with the organizer, they would have hit them. So then after that incident, then there was a primary. The MP lost, and the MPP won the seat. In Ngoko, the signal was clear that the sitting MP was going to lose the primary. Now, what the party leadership, especially some of the elements from party headquarters, had done was that they preferred the sitting MP. The sitting MP had gone manipulating the album, so he was sure that he was going to win the primary. But the community has said that if this sitting MP comes back, we won't vote for him. Well, they insisted. He went through the primary, and his closest contender, knowing what had been done to the album, decided that he wasn't going to contest, because clearly, if he had contested, he was going to lose miserably. That was Shaba.
Right.
Yes. Shaba went independent. Now, before he went, I sent people into the constituency, and I checked. Shaba came to me and said he wanted to go independent. I said, please, no, don't go independent. Why would you want to leave the party? I sent people. I don't want to mention the names. This gentleman is a minister. The person I sent is a minister in the current government. He went and spent 2 weeks in Nkoko, came back and told me, General, if Kechre Dusan goes unopposed and becomes MPP candidate, and Shaba goes independent, Shaba will beat Kechre Dusan. I said, what? In MPP stronghold? He said, you told me to come and tell you the truth. I said, yes. Then he said, well, this is the truth. Then Shaba came to me. I said, well, from the investigations I've done, if you went independent, you're going to win. So I don't have a choice. I can't stop you. Anyway, it's a private discussion, a decision. Same thing happened in Bekwai with Joe Osei, who is now first deputy speaker.
Yes.
Same thing happened with Ofori Kregu, who was going in Bosomefrel. When I reported this to the national executive, the party chairman then asked me, have you ever seen independent winning against MPP in MPP stronghold before? I said, Mr. Chairman, I may not have seen some before, but this year,
it will happen.
It's going to happen, and it won't be one constituency. It won't be two constituencies. He doubted me. In fact, they laughed at me. At the end of the 2008 elections, 3 independents had won from MPP. And when they go to MPP, MPP now begins to beg them to join them. Same thing happened with the current second deputy speaker of parliament. In fact, as for him, he was so insulted by the president, Napo, the general secretary then, John Boadu. John even said that even if in the unlikely event that he won and came to parliament, he shouldn't come and sit anywhere close to where MPP people are sitting in parliament.
Andre Siama.
Yes. So this is a big statement, and I am saying that even if the president accuses Ediomi of having gone to play tricks with Afafranto and NDC, and so, that's neither here nor there. I mean, this is a very serious development. I mean, the president should realize that his party is going down, if it hasn't already gone down, even in the party's own strong region, Ashanti, and in the party's own stronghold. Now, mind you,
the party is going down?
Yes, I mean, you can see. Now, when it comes to presidential for 2024, don't forget that Alan Chamatin is a citizen of Ejisu, and he's also going to stand presidential. So Ejisu in particular is going to be very interesting. If Owusu Ediomi maintains his support base and is able to get even a lot more people, and he's going to work, everybody's going to work, and he works in tandem with Alan as an independent, who is also a citizen of Ejisu. Obviously, the presidential results for MPP in Ejisu 2024 is not going to be like what they had in the past. I mean, this for me is a no-brainer, seriously, because the dynamics are clear. 3, I think MPP must learn some serious lessons. The primary that brought John Kuma to become candidate is the main reason why the community, the people who believe that whoever goes to parliament represents their interest, this is the reason why they have decided that irrespective of what big shots of parties will sit in Accra and think. We decide. We live with the people. We know this is the man or the person who will represent our interests best. So the issues about Ejisu for me is very serious. And if anybody thinks that independents are not going to get anywhere, you see, society is dynamic. There was a time when if you talk about independent, nobody will mind you. People talk about Kwesindom went independent, this other Akwadonko went independent, and so Alan Chamatin going independent. That's neither here. He's not going to get anywhere. I mean, seriously, if you talk to people today across the country, majority of people will tell you, look, we are getting tired of getting locked in this duopoly. So people are beginning to desire something different. People are looking for change, even if it's just for the sake of change. People are looking for that. So I think Ejisu, for me, is a very interesting development in our democratic experience.
Very deep thoughts that you put out there and what you think the party should be considering. But as to whether these proposals would also hit listening ears is another matter altogether, because it's not the first time you said some of these things that you're saying.
Well, now right now, I'm not working for MPP's interest as a party. I am working for the interest of all Ghanaians, irrespective of party. And you see, I am saying that we have actually gotten to the point where a lot of people are saying, say, look, we have had parties, we have belonged to parties with sentimental attachments, with emotional attachments and all of that. What are we getting? People are looking at reality of life, the economics of today. People who are doing business are looking at exchange rate, they're looking at taxes, the rate and extent of taxes. People are looking at the macroeconomy and whether if you make any investment, you have any hope of protecting your investment. People are looking at scores and scores of young people turning out of universities, tertiary institutions, and so on, and not being able to set up their own businesses, not being able to find space in the public employment sector. Big issues. So the dynamics that are going to determine where people vote won't just be party colors. As for me, I can see it. I can see
and it. You've been seeing it since 2008.
Oh, way before. Way before.
I see.
Yes.
Much people bring it because that point about this Ejisu by-election outcome being a reflection of the sentiments of the generality of the Ghanaian people. Is it one that you align with very quickly on this?
Yes, absolutely. It tells you what's going to happen. That I'm especially encouraged by the fact that now more and more people are willing to stand before the cameras and tell Ghanaians that, look, politicians have given them money, but they will not vote for them. Most striking is the old lady who came in. There was a video that went viral. Yeah. She even claimed that the MPP people had actually given the young men weed, marijuana.
I think it was even captured on one of these.
Yes, that's what she said. She said
it must be a subject of investigation.
Yes, she was very upset. That how? Why would you give us weed? That the young men, she spoke in tree, were giving weed and some money. That they put the money on top of the weed. So when the young men saw the money, they thought the money went all the way down. So that must have been a killing. But it turned out that soon after the money, there was weed, right? Yeah, so, but as I said, the upshot of it is the fact that they are willing to face the cameras, willing to grant interviews openly, and to say that, look, son, they've given us money, but we will not vote for them. And that is very courageous, and that's what we should be encouraging them to do. Just like what happened in Asin North. That's the same thing. Mr. Mwakwa, your people went in there, distributed rice, money.
Martin, it is not only my people.
Oh, yeah, both sides. Oh, Mr. is here. Yes. Oh, both. NDC and MPP.
And NDC will say they did not.
Okay, sorry.
You say. Yeah, so it tells you that, like what Thomas Paine once said, that these are the times that try the souls of men, right? Yes, these are the times that try the souls of men. We are really in hardship. right? Extreme hardship. You see the cost of living crisis. You see what do you call it? Unparalleled misgovernance thrown us to the bottom. The DDEP, etc. And you see the fuel prices and all that going up. So when you look at the context and the fact that Ghanaians still have that spirit that, look, will come out and vote, that in itself, we should be commending them. Because, elsewhere, considering the hardship, they could have just said, look, they will not even come at all. Yeah, because it's nauseating that you misgovern and misgovern, then in the last few days, you go into the constituency and splash money around and expect the people to turn out. No, they could have just said, look, we'll take the money, we'll not even come out. But the fact that they've come out, that shows some resilience. That, listen, we are being buffeted, times are hard, we can't fend for ourselves well, but we will come out and exercise this franchise. And so that gives me hope that on December 7th, that's the same thing they are going to do. And especially as you've shown, this is a constituency the NPP was winning with what? 83%.
Yes.
83%. Now with all the money you've splashed and everything, you go get 55%. Okay, you round it off to 56. What a drastic reduction. Tells you that no, Ghana, people have moved on. Yeah.
Well, the explanation has been that because the voter turnout was not as we will have in a general election.
Sorry,
the voter turnout is not one that you have in general elections and so on. So that may have impacted all of this. But then again, bearing in mind the fact that for parliamentary, you win by a simple majority. So the percentage reflection actually is not, if you look at the analysis per se, wouldn't bother so much on the specific numbers when it comes to the voter turnout, because the trend, as you're making reference to, is that it's been over 80%. In fact, the lowest they've gotten there is about 81%, thereabout. Yeah. It's been consistent over the period. In fact, I think then from 96 there was 75.7.
It was John Kuma
2000
who brought it today.
No, Ejisu had 80-something before.
Kwame also Ediomi.
The first time Ediomi came was lower.
Yeah, it was lower.
Kwame also Ediomi was 78.2.
Then 82. Then
Kwame also Ediomi was 78.2%.
Then 80.
Then in 2012.
And then before Ediomi was not, it was much lower. And so, granted, Oseji was much lower. Granted that it's been increasing and this has reduced. And I've given you the background, the reasons why that is so.
But Council, you were on a point about this essentially reflecting the sentiments generally of the masses of the people.
Absolutely, yes. So, and I've said that it's not only Ejisu. Look, I meet scores of people who are MPP and they tell me that, look, Master, oh, no, this time we are not going to just follow the party. It's been reverberating everywhere. Oh, I've met scores of people. Some are even diehards and they say, no, Master, this time it's not about diehard. We must save this country. We must save this country from the bad governance. Yeah, they just don't see Bawumia as the person. No. They don't see. In actual fact, Bawumia should be counting himself lucky, but it's not over yet. It's because OSP left him off the hook in the Edubuahin Bawumia saga. And I have said we will return to court because, as soon as we go, I'm sure he will have a divided attention. He will go to court, then he will come to the campaign grounds and we'll see. Because you can't misgovern like this and then come back and say you want to be president. How? After all the PDS scandal, Sami Jeffis here, he will tell you, changing the bank guarantee to insurance guarantee, getting your in-laws to get scholarships, and then not turn up in school and waste our £17,000. Your brother gets contract, the Cocoa Board single source contract, etc. So many things. So people meet me every time. They tell me that, look, that's the right path. Don't worry. Even if anybody calls you NDC, just forge on. And that's the truth. If it happens that you guys win, you come. It's the same thing we'll do. Don't come and encourage this thing. We have to save this nation. That's why I started with the statement by Thomas Paine, saying that Thomas Paine was one of the guys. He wrote The Common Sense. At the time, the Americans were scared. They couldn't fight the British. Their spirits were low. Then he wrote that book. At that time, it was a bestseller, The Common Sense, telling them that, look, yes, the British, they are kindred, etc. But listen, what they are doing to us, the British colonized the Americans. At that time, they had 13 colonies. Said, no, look, this is a new land. We can't continue to suffer under them. Get up and let's deal with them. And so it was. So after Common Sense, then the next book, The American Crisis.
Right.
That's a book that when you see people need a revolutionary spirit, that is a book you should be reading. These are the times that try men's souls. These are the times that we are hard pressed, we are suffering hardship, but we will get up and liberate Ghana.
I want to show you, and Jajemfi, I'll bring you in there at this point after this. We see, this is one of the videos, and give credit to the media house that did this. I think it's Joy News. Yes. Oh, take a look at this video of some of the constituents who came out openly on video talking about they being given monies. Take a look.
Lawyer can't fight. V8. Obisa about to abandon my lawyer. Not with the amount. It could Ejisu mention. Otu abandon we are. Otu my lawyer. Near Chodi. Actual phone number. 7 momo. Me client go on them. So no to aba. Okwa no. I'm going to join the actual number. Say I'm sending momo. It won't show what talk. You will vote. Now anybody know my issue because they make. Come on. What to be? Media evidence. V8 white one. V8 white one. And I just kind of police one. Police need to front. Who do on ma? Even your ID card. Better is behind the Ghana.
The Omoyan and I'm talking by female compartment to a moment. Was that the Omoyan a chronom? I don't know you now. You're very Ababa Copama, my dream at top place. My flare, a Gufado. I knew and scan a 100 white amount. 100 minimum by you pick up V8 white one. Omoyan the man, minimum say, in the car. I just am seeing in the car and receive. Chief, also, oh, 100 CDs. I didn't know be at 100 back one quad 50. Sir, 50 no 50 million 100. So, and to Musha the Aquana 100 ne Bomunasa. And I made a man 50 million. And you know, the MPP for you know. I'm so much MPP for the mammy. Area being a fan. I'm patch up, member to about RC. RC, just Sucromo. I'll be just obesiancy. One of which chess canon, and I'm a Saka media. So, into the MPP for you, is a young party, no? Kufado, and then I'm banning and Crophobia. Yanso Yate. Yadia, Tommy independent candidate, Nimpuntua, the Abaha, and yes, Caninti. Sikandia Yaje, by M to Abanama MPP. Is a just would have been just a triadia MPP for no mamma, your margins on Benavo to Yaha. Yan to Abama and to Abama China.
Well, so look, there are quite a lot of them in that interview that the reporter at Joy News did. So it lends credence on the things that Matipebu you indicated. But the NDC did not take part in this by-election, Mr. Jemfi. It's a decision that you took looking at all the events and also the factors at play. But certainly your eyes were fixed on the happenings in Ejisu and the aftermath or the outcome of it, is it not?
Well, for me, there are two aspects of this election and the outcome thereof which are of interest to me. One aspect is an exciting aspect that I am happy about. The other is a very sad and disappointing aspect that I am scandalized and outraged about. Now, on the first aspect, which I say I'm excited about, it has to do with the fact that the work that some of us have done since 2017, when I say some of us, I'm not just talking about politicians like myself in the opposition, but even voices of conscience, like senior brother, lawyer Martin Pegbu, your good self, you know, what all of us have done since 2017 seem to be yielding results. It seemed to have awakened the consciousness of the people of this country, patriotism in the people of this country. And people are beginning to assess the incumbent MPP, Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government, not on the basis of their political affiliations or sympathies, but on the basis of their governance and how that is impacting this country and the future of generations unborn. Mm-hmm. And so people are defying their political support or affiliation or sympathies for the ruling New Patriotic Party. They are standing by Ghana. They are taking patriotic decisions, which they believe to be in their interest and in the interest of their children and their children's children. That, for me, is the exciting part of this election. Because if you look at the verdict clearly, it is a vote of no confidence in the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government.
But they won.
It is, this clearly is a Pyrrhic victory. I don't consider this victory at all. And I will explain why I say so. But back to what I was saying, it is clearest indication that the MPP are on their way out of office. That, for me, is the positive takeaway from this election. You see, before Ejisu, we had gone to a send-off. And in that send-off election, you realize that the NDC in 2020 had attained 55% of valid vote cast. The MPP, on the other hand, attained 44%. When we went for the by-election, the NDC appreciated from 55% to a little over 57%. The MPP in that constituency, and Asenov is a swing constituency, the MPP has won it, the NDC has won it, a swing constituency. The MPP declined from the 44% they got in the main election in 2020 to 42%. Okay, if you check the decline, it was a 2.6 percentage decline. That should tell you about the fast rate at which this government is becoming unpopular. The alarming rate at which people, is it even alarming? The rate at which people are losing hope in the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government. From a send-off, we went into this Ejisu by-election. And as you yourself has demonstrated with data, you realize that in 2016, the MPP had a little over 83% of valid vote cast in the parliamentary. A little over 83%. In 2020, they had almost 83%, 82 point something, almost 83%. We go for a by-election which the MPP contested, not with any established political party like the NDC. They contested with an individual, Ejisu Aduomi. All this gentleman had was his reputation, his proven track record, his integrity, okay, and the service he has rendered the people of Ejisu, over the 3 terms that he served as Member of Parliament. He didn't have the kind of logistics, the kind of resources, and the apparatus that was marshaled by the MPP. Bear in mind that this was not an election for just the MPP. The entire government apparatus was behind the MPP candidates. The national security was there. Ministers of state were there with government vehicles, government logistics. The president of the land, the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces was there on the ground. The vice president, who happens to be their flag bearer and leader, was there. And all these people came up against one individual. They branded him as an NDC-sponsored candidate. Because they know that in Ejisu, you see, Ejisu is not just a stronghold of the MPP. It is one of their strongest holds in that stronghold called Ashanti. Ejisu is one of the constituencies that gives the MPP over 50,000, victory margins in general elections. Check the trend. So they know that once you succeed in branding any candidate as NDC, like the Muslims say, it is haram. People will run away, they will flee away from the candidate. So Bawumia himself on the political platform said, a vote for Aduomi is a vote for the NDC. This is a man who has sacrificed for the MPP. I'm talking about Aduomi. You check his track record right from his days at Urban Rules all the way to the work he did as Member of Parliament and on the committee of rules and all. Go and check his output. Yet, because he was running at independent, they bastardized him, they maligned him, said that he was an NDC-sponsored candidate. Aside that, you saw the money which was distributed. the obscene monetization of the election. And we've seen clips of, not a few minutes ago, we saw clips of that. And aside all the money, despite all the money which they distributed, despite the name calling, the demonization of Aduomi, branding him as an NDC-sponsored candidate and all that, and despite the overnight road projects and promises that were made to the people, the MPP declines from the 83% they got in 2020 to 56%. 55, and listen, we are not talking about nominal votes. So this issue of, the turnout was lower is neither here nor there. If the turnout is low, we expect you to be getting
within that
percentage. We are talking about percentages here. So if only a few people turn out to vote, we expect to see at least 70, 75%, 80% of those who turn out to vote voting for you, so that we know that, okay, your strength in the constituency is still the same or has even improved. But from 83% to 56%, Master, this is a monumental embarrassment. This is tantamount to defeat. And that is why they can't even celebrate this victory. Okay? But not just that. I've heard some of them say that in by-elections in this country, voter turnouts are always low. It is not true. Go and check the voter turnout for the Asenof by-election. I was in the thick of affairs in Asenof. I managed the NDC's campaign. Voter turnout, as reported by the Electoral Commission, was 74.23%. 74.23% for the Asenof by-election. How come that voter turnout in the Ejisu by-election was 49.1%? They couldn't even hit 50%, despite the fact that they were distributing money like Kofi Brookman and Nkati. They were distributing money. The people said, we are not interested in your money. We won't participate in the vote. Come and vote and take money. In their own stronghold, people are disinterested because they are disillusioned. People are tired of the economic mismanagement we have witnessed in the last 7 years, which has plunged this country into bankruptcy with its attendant hardships for all of us. They are tired of the corruption. They are tired of the arrogance of power. They are tired of the nepotism. They are tired of the waste they see. And they are sending a clear signal. So I agree with Senior Nanohini when he says that this is a big statement. It's a statement by the people of this country that, look, we are tired of the misgovernance and we want a change. It is not a product of any internal divisions in the MPP. You can't tell me that all the people who voted for Aduomi are card-bearing members of the MPP and care about the inner workings or the inner internal affairs of the New Patriotic Party. These are protest votes by neutrals, by floating voters, by NDC supporters, and by die-hard MPP members who have seen the light. So for me, that is a positive aspect of the election. Now, lastly, on the negative aspect of the election. Look, we've seen by-elections in this country over and over again, okay? Monetization is not a new phenomenon. I will not make a fuss about it, even though, admittedly, we are seeing that on a level never witnessed in the history of this country. But for me, what was most shocking, what broke me down as a young man, was the level of desperation I saw the MPP display at Ejisu, where they went to the extent, that shameful extent, of distributing narcotic substances, illegal, illicit substances, like marijuana, which can make people mad, marijuana, which can cause people to suffer from chronic ailments and all that.
And you think the police should be interested in this?
Exactly.
The police should pick this matter up because you're making a statement as was put out there by some of the constituents.
No, these are the beneficiaries of the marijuana. Those who were giving the marijuana.
Yes, there are some videos.
And eyewitnesses.
Exactly.
And eyewitnesses.
Eyewitnesses.
So the woman who spoke said, I saw it. Yeah. Then the gentleman said, they gave the marijuana to us. Master, you people, how wicked can you be? Because of an election, because of power, I shouldn't do what? I am totally disgusted.
Don't do this.
I am totally appalled.
First time I'm meeting you.
No, listen.
Don't do this.
Don't do what?
Say what you want to say.
I am, and that is exactly what I'm doing.
Gentlemen,
I'm not sure I've mentioned your name.
You are.
Okay, gentlemen.
I shouldn't.
It's all right.
You are the icon of the NPP.
Okay.
Because of what he said, I'm going to look in his direction. I'm going to look into his direction. Maybe the cameraman should take the camera.
Let us have a very fruitful.
Are you here as neutral?
I said let's have a very fruitful.
So you don't want me to look at you?
All against monetization.
My brother.
Okay.
I think I didn't interject you. I didn't interject you. Respectfully.
That's fine.
I didn't interject you. So the point is this. It is totally unacceptable, totally irresponsible and reprehensible for a political party in this country to descend so low to the extent of distributing marijuana. Then what are they going to do in the main elections coming up? Are they going to be importing shiploads of marijuana from Jamaica to be and distribute that to voters? One voter, one rule. One voter, one rule.
That's good.
What level of desperation is this? And you see, this was being given to the young people. This is your stronghold. You should be genuinely, if, for example, they were distributing, say, hair dryer machines or even food, okay? Or they were not even thinking of distributing food. Weed. It's like they don't care about the future, the health of these young people.
That's what I was saying. Would you urge the police to take up
was
this
one
matter?
of the lowest points for our democracy as a country. And I think that if the law enforcement agencies are serious, Mr. IGP, Mr. Dapaah, if you are really serious about combating crime, you should take up this matter, investigate this matter, because people saw those who did the distribution. They know the vehicles they were riding in. It is possible for people to identify those who engage in this shameful act. And till date, you know that the MPP has not issued any statement to condemn it, which clearly means that they endorse it. It means that it was a strategy deployed by them. Okay? And this, for me, is a reason why any young person listening to us, watching us this morning, should not give their vote to the New Patriotic Party, because they simply don't care about you. They are ready to give you marijuana to destroy your life for votes. That is what they are ready to do. And I think that we should go back to the name they were once given. The Narcotics People's Party.
There is one.
That is how we should be referring to the MPP now. No longer New Patriotic Party, but Narcotics People's Party.
So you want the police to investigate this matter?
They must investigate this matter. But for me, and lastly, the one of the sad aspects of this election also had to do with a very, I don't want to use certain words because this is about the president. I don't want to say irresponsible. But maybe let me use the word reckless.
What are you see, with respect to what exactly?
The president mounted a stage and told the people of Ejisu that, look, I am the president. No independent member of parliament can come to me to lobby me for rules. And that it is only MPP members of parliament who can come to me to lobby me for rules. What was he communicating? Was he telling us that he is only a president for the MPP?
Absolutely.
Does he understand the seriousness of his oath of office? The oath that says that he will be fair to all manner of persons? Does it understand the constitution he has sworn to uphold, the supreme law of the land, Article 17 of which says that he is not supposed to discriminate against any group of people? Look, this is not a one-off off-the-cuff statement by the president. You heard what he told the chiefs from Ekumfi, who visited him at the presidency, the seat of government. And he told them that I neglected you because you chose to vote against the MPP parliamentary candidates. He goes to flood victims somewhere in the voter region and he tells them that you didn't vote for me, so I was not even supposed to come here. I'm doing you a favor. In other words, paraphrasing him, by coming here because you didn't vote for me. Now he goes to Ejisu, his own stronghold, and he tells them that no independent member of parliament can come to me for rules. Really, Mr. President? So are you saying that constituents who have elected independent members of parliament, members of parliament, like the constituents in Fomena, they don't pay taxes? You are not their president? Are you just an NPP president?
Okay.
For me, this is what makes President Akufo-Addo the worst president we have ever had. He shouldn't have even gotten an opportunity to be close to that esteemed, seat, because he doesn't understand what it means to be president. He thinks he's an MPP leader, an MPP, foot soldier. When he speaks, he doesn't speak like a commander-in-chief. He doesn't speak in ways that shows respect for all Ghanaians, irrespective of one's affiliation, one's background. And that for me was another low moment. So look, I'm not going to belabor the point. They can say that this is victory for them and celebrate. I can't say that, you will get what you eat. So 2024-7 December is not far. They will see their smoothness level. Let them keep on tickling themselves.
Professor Bafwa Jimendua is joining us on Zoom. Professor Bafwa Jimendua, good morning. Welcome to the Key Point.
Good morning, my good friends, and good morning to all the esteemed people in the studio.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for joining us. And Counsel, this matter of, you see, vote buying, and I say Counsel, I know I have a number of lawyers. I have at least 3 lawyers on this platform.
Okay.
Yes. This matter of inducement, not necessarily just vote buying, inducement, because apart from what these people who just play the video are talking about, money is being given to them. There is also that incident, and I want us to round up on this Ejisu conversation with this particular incident involving the Member of Parliament for the Kwadaso constituency, Dr. Kennedy Nyako. He explained, and let's
Kingsley.
Dr. Kingsley Nyako, I beg you. He explained that act, in fact, he says there was initially he said it was a document that he put on the table for this the temporary officers of the Electoral Commission. Then later he said there was another narrative that it was an empty envelope and he was just talking to them. But if we look at the video, which we'll put on the screen right now, and let me also give credit in this instance, the source of this video is Joy News. You'll see him talking to these temporary officers of the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission later came out with a statement detailing exactly what was in there or what happened. They first withdrew this temporary staff, and then the second statement gave details that the Member of Parliament, contrary to what he had said, gave them money for lunch to go and buy food. Now we know that they have been invited by the police, statements have been taken. The special prosecutor has also taken interest in this matter as well. Seeing this, certainly if you're concerned about the sanctity of our process, it must concern you, is it not? Oh yeah.
I've already said that we are all concerned about monetization of our electoral process. I think some allegations have been made here because of a video of a woman. We could play, we could not play it, but it's of no moment.
That you want us to play?
No. I said we could not. It's of no moment.
No,
Martin,
since
please.
you were
Martin,
making
please.
reference. It's all right. It's all right.
Maybe it would be useful.
No, Martin, please.
No,
Martin, it's my. Hey, Martin.
No.
It's all right.
It's not about that.
It's about national.
Exactly. So you see the trend on which I'm going.
Okay.
That's what, Martin, I've told you before. Are you never fairly tired? That's why you did what you are doing. I understand you. You don't want any person to be... No. You don't want any party to be in power for more than 8 years. I understand you. But when you are making some allegations, let it be founded on evidence, not hearsay. The woman has said something. We are all against monetization. In fact, I think it's our party's Member of Parliament on your platform who said that if care is not taken during their primaries, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's Andy.
Yes.
Who said if care is not taken,
Andy
exactly. Everyone saw this. If care is not taken, where we are going, it doesn't augur well. And I am a firm believer of that. That you cannot, we've passed laws, haven't we? Mm-hmm. Of vote buying is illegal. But brazenly, people are doing things. And to the extent that someone would have the nerve to say that the money, you gave it out though, but it didn't get to me and therefore I'm not voting. As if it is because of the money that you are voting. That is banal for everyone. But my point on this is that we cannot say because the woman is saying, it is easy for anyone to come and stand in front of a camera and hold the money and say, I was given this by when I said it is easy for any individual to come and do that. It is incumbent on the police to get to these people, at least there's ocular evidence, and let them lead them to who gave them money for actions to be taken. I am in full support of that, because it shouldn't be that go and find money before you can win election, when you can avail yourself and do good in society. It shouldn't be that. So anything that borders on monetization, I am fully against that. But let us not ride on just because of someone is saying this. Let it be investigated. Indeed, they said a white V8. That's the only details they gave. There should be more. Okay, but so let it be investigated. Before it being investigated, let's not say that as a result of that, now MPP now is a narcotic peddling. No, please. Let us all together, this platform, make sure that we attack that the buying of votes in Ghana. It is bad for everyone, for all of Ghanaians. How about now, the MP? So I needed to underscore that fact. Now, the MP, I do not know what he was doing there. I mean,
this is an inner perimeter.
Yes,
where even he's not an accredited agent.
Exactly.
To be there.
Exactly. So, as to why you go and ask them whether they were eating or not and what not, and as for his responses, the initial responses, I don't even want to touch on that. It will be even bad if they said that it was a document. What document? For what? For what? But you see, so I would agree with the EC's position that it is lunch. As to the appropriateness of that, nobody will come and sit on any platform and say that it was appropriate. Nobody. And
some assigns within your party say he's a benevolent man, he gives money.
I was about to come to that. That was appropriate to do that. And it is definitely not an MPP agenda. Definitely not.
So
now,
Kennedy, Nyako is on his own.
I don't know why I refer to him as Kennedy. Maybe you have Kennedy as a brother.
Dr. Nyako is on his own.
But then, how can this be that you go in front of the full glow of everyone? You see, it was, I think it was an Adum or Joy who was interviewing someone, and he was zeroed in on that. If the only thing I can say in respect of his intentions is that if he was standing in the queue and giving the people something before they go and vote, clearly he's influencing their vote, their decisions. But here, I would agree with the EC that his lunch he was given. As to whether or not it is incumbent on him to go and find out whether they've eaten or not is a different matter. I think it was not his business to have done that.
Okay.
It was not his business to have done that. Now, we as a society, we should reflect on certain things we do. All right? The instances where I've been to places where we know this is the area for parking. I'm getting there. 3 or 4 young men are running around me and pointing where I should park. You should know that that exercise is not free. We tend to give them, boss, you better car somehow. When we come, we find some 5, 10 cities for them. Okay. All that is a reflection of our society. Now, if that's what he was trying to do, it is for him to answer for that. OSP has called him. And he has now cost the temporary jobs of these 2 people. And I'm sure it will not end there. It's a reflection of us as a people. Choose whether or not you have to offer a handout to someone. Choose the appropriate time, because now it creates a whole impression. And I'm saying, if he was in the queue giving that, then he's not actually influencing those who are going to vote. But this is for him to come and explain. But monetization in our politics, please, it's not now that it has started. we must take active steps. So any commentary we make on that shift it on one party alone, I think we are not doing Ghana a good service. There are several people who can lead, who can be in good positions, but for the sake of this phenomenon. And all of us, it's going to all of us to make sure that it is nipped in the bud without shifting on one party or the other.
Well, Professor Bafajimendua, because you have seen this video and of the Member of Parliament for Kwadaso we're talking about and the explanation that he sought to give. But if you indulge me, this is the Honorable Dr. Kingsley Nyako explaining why he did what he did. Take a look.
I don't feel bad because I know I've done nothing wrong. Okay, I know it's politics. People are going to spin. You know, we've been in this political game all this while, and those who are spinning, I don't begrudge them. That's politics. Yeah. That is it. But me, Kingsley Nyako, I'm putting on record that I've not done anything, whether overtly or covertly, to influence the process. My candidates will win this election fair and square. Let me ask you this question. The polling agents, six candidates.
Professor Bafajimendua says he's done nothing wrong. It's going to be a spin. But looking at that video, which you have seen, how worrying is it for you?
Well, thank you, Alfred, and again, good morning to you. Look, I have a slightly different perspective on this. First of all, I find it very stressful that we are devoting precious time to discuss an issue that is quite prevalent in our political system, our political processes, electoral processes. This is not new, and some of the panelists have already reiterated. I have been an avid election observer for many years in this country and elsewhere. In Ghana, the elections that I observed, and by the way, I am from the Ejisu, and I was there during the elections, and I did go around with a friend in the vehicle to see a few stations in the Siansi and a few others in Ejisu. So I have the direct evidence for what I observed.
I see.
But it's not shocking to me. Look, unless you want to be hypocrites in this country, vote buying has been part and parcel of our electoral processes indulged in by both political parties. Even amongst their own primaries, they indulge in that. But as hypocrites, we are picking on this event as if it's the first time we have witnessed it, instead of spending time to discuss how do we find a way to stop it. We need to change our political or electoral processes or the system in order to avoid the overwhelming influence of money in the way we elect our public officials. For me, that is the key issue. As for all the other encomiums, everybody knows. Of course, Kingsley Nyako was most, his indiscretion was amazing. Somebody well-educated, a big political partisan, and you go to a place you're not supposed to be to dish out whatever that you say he dished out. Were you trying to influence them? I, on my own rounds, not this one, previous year's elections, when I was quite active in this field, I did provide water and food for certain elections officials, both in the northern parts of this country and elsewhere. Because at times you go when it's getting late, they haven't been given their food, water, and they cannot leave the station. So I have done that before, but I did it as a civil society person with no intent whatsoever to influence anything, but purely on humanitarian grounds. Kingsley had no business doing that because he did not go there to meet people who were famished. After all, the Electoral Commission says they do provide food during these events to their officials. And even if, in fact, they were famished, he should have been aware of his standing. He must have been aware of the political nature of this to have stayed away. So nothing can excuse him, and that is a given. But for me, as I say, look, we have a serious problem with our political process. These political parties, the two of them, NDC and PP, practice it And instead of finding a way to sanitize our political system, we are spending all these hours beating on an issue look, anytime we have elections, if you read the reports, especially by CDP, it's a prominent part of their reports in all previous elections that this country system has been thoroughly monitored. That is the issue. And that's the issue that all of us should be interested in stopping it. Picking on one event like we have seen to discuss it as if it's the first time we experience it for me is stressful, and I don't want to get into it.
To the extent that, I mean, this is happening continuously, as you have indicated, it's a clear indication that in the past, nothing has been done to address this, or not much has been done to address this. So seeing this particular one and the height of it, that you would have that individual or a member of parliament have that confidence to even want to get into an area where he's not supposed to be, what action has to be taken to address this going forward, so that this one incident that we are making reference to would now be a reference point for actions that were taken to address this bigger problem that we're talking about?
Of course, if there are clear infractions of the electoral laws and that requires investigation and prosecution, that should proceed. No doubt at all in my mind on that. So I fully support the effort either by the EC or by the police to conduct the investigations and, if it's necessary, to prosecute, to do so. That I have no problem. My problem, Alfred, is that at times we behave, I don't know the word to describe ourselves, because this has happened, we are behaving as if it's a new thing. It's not, and my point is that the way forward should be how we examine our political processes, especially the electoral process, and find an antidote to stopping this. Because like somebody rightly said, if you do not have money in this country, there's no way you can go in for elections. And even what is worse, Alfred, in previous elections, candidates have come public on radio stations to admit, look, I gave 5,000 to this delegate, both from the NDC and the NPP. So what are we talking about? Please, let's find, the system is corrupt, no doubt. So what do we do to sanitize the system? If we require some changes in the processes, if we require certain measures to stop it, that is where my interest, because this is an issue, I can provide report upon report from CDD over the years and other sources, and they themselves, the party stalwarts, even publicly, have argued that they do it because at times they use the excuse of paying for transportation for our delegates, or they use all kinds of, including giving them lunch, as Kingsley is trying to claim. So is that new? It's not new, Alfred. So I think my good friends in the studio, look, what we should be doing is advocating for changing the process or bringing certain measures that will stop this nonsense in our political process.
No need to, I mean,
yes. Comment first, then I'll also make a brief comment.
To an extent, I understand what Professor Juandua is saying. But to say that in discussing the matter, we are behaving hypocritically, it is a matter that has come. So obviously, it's going to have to be discussed. Two, correct. I am hearing him on, we have to deal with it. So I am expecting, I mean, he's an expert in political science and elections especially, and so many other things. Can Professor Juandua also tell us some of the things? Because if you say we'll have to deal with it, all of us. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm a citizen. The best I can do is to talk about it. And he talked about advocacy. Advocacy definitely is not going to deal with these matters. One, he suggested something. If somebody has been found to have infracted electoral laws, let them be dealt with according to law. If it requires prosecution, the agency that is responsible for prosecuting must just do that. Two, the people who are in government, beyond advocacy, the people, the party the president, the government which is in place today, is in the center of what we are discussing right now. This has been happening over the years. So what? All the parties do it. So what? Can't there be a point where somebody has to be held responsible? And I'm saying, if the incumbent party, an MP of the incumbent party, has been found in this kind of act, first of all, we haven't even heard the MPP condemn it. We haven't heard the president condemn it. We haven't heard the flag bearer of the MPP condemn it. Now, when things that look like, or that may indeed end up being found to be criminal offenses even against the law, sometimes the attitude of people in power can influence the way these matters are dealt with. We might do a lot of discussions. If you are not in government, you are in civil society, you are an individual citizen. We bring up the issues. The president, the sitting government, beyond civil society advocacy, must show that we are not just hearing you, we are doing ABC. So now, Professor Jumenduya, we got a test case. If we want to be seen to be doing something about an endemic situation, we got a test case on our hands. What will this government do? What will the Attorney General do? What will the police do? Then we are beginning to deal with it. That's my sense of what we have to do.
Prof, I'll come to you in a bit. I'll come to you in a bit and for a quick response on this, because it's about this instance, and that's what the question I was asking Prof Ojimendia earlier about this instance. Yes, it's been happening, but this particular instance, how do we ensure
then
that
we know we got a starting
measures
point
put in place to address this matter to serve as a deterrent going forward?
You see, Alfred, I am totally in disagreement with Professor Bafo Ajimenduya's position on this matter, because I think he's confusing three different things. Okay, there is one, the distribution of money to voters. There is two, the distribution of marijuana to voters. Then there is three, that envelope which was given by a certain member of parliament and deputy minister of state in this MPP government to an electoral officer. You can't put everything together and say that the discussion of all these three issues are hypocritical and that this has been happening. What has been happening? First of all, on the distribution of money, what has been happening, okay, is the distribution of money to delegates in internal party elections. That has been a prevalent phenomenon.
Public elections.
Exactly. Exactly. And that you can say happens on both sides. I would be a hypocrite to say that in internal elections in the NDC, people don't give delegates money. But we are talking about that phenomenon going to another level where even in public elections, now monies are being distributed to voters like it happened in Asenof and like it happened in Ejisu. And I am telling Professor Bafo Ajimenduya that you cannot find any CDD report on any public election in this country which recorded the kind of incidents we saw at Asenof and in Ejisu in terms of not internal elections and the distribution of money to delegates, but in terms of the distribution of money to voters in public elections like what we had at Asenof and Ejisu. It is unparalleled. So there is no basis for equalization. Number two, never has it happened in this country, and Professor Bafo Ajimenduya can show us any CDD reports which recorded an incident of a political party distributing marijuana, okay, to voters. So how can you put everything together and say that this has been happening? And so we are being hypocritical in raising these issues. Marijuana, in all the elections he observed, did he see any political party, including the MPP, show us, not even real incidents, but even reports of political parties distributing marijuana? Then number three, this Kingsley Nyako matter we are talking about, Prof, with all due respect, is not just an act of indiscretion. Come on, our laws, our elections are governed by laws. If he was not an observer or an agent, by law, he was not supposed to enter that inner perimeter. Again, you cannot be distributing money. Okay, initially he denied. And the reason why I am of the opinion that whatever he gave that electoral officer was inducement. has to do with the inconsistent accounts he has given. In one breath, it was a document. In another breath, it was lunch. And it's been pointed out to him that, look, this was early morning. You know, it's very difficult for me to do this because he's a friend. And I go on Good Morning Ghana on Metro TV with him and all that. But this is about Ghana. You see, in one breath, you say it's a document. In another breath, it was lunch. Meanwhile, at the time you were doing it, it was even morning time. And you see, if it was a mere kind gesture, the electoral officer would not have felt any guilt in accepting it. Watch the video clearly. When he first presented the envelope, the EC officer did not take the envelope. He dropped it on the table.
In fact, one of them walked away.
He dropped it on the table and one walked away. So it's like, okay, people are watching, so you're uncomfortable, but I'm dropping it. Clearly, the intention was not legitimate. The reason, and nobody can tell me that this only happened at one polling station. We only saw this because, coincidentally, multimedia was granted an interview there, and the cameraman was present to zoom in for us to see this. Who knows the other polling stations he went to? You understand? So please, Prof, if he's saying that monetization is not a new phenomenon, he's right. But to say that we are being hypocritical and that all the issues we are discussing here are not new and that all political parties are guilty, he is wrong, terribly wrong, because the NDC is not in the activity of distributing marijuana to voters, and we are not in this business of distributing money wholesale to voters in public elections. Neither are we in the business of distributing money to electoral officers in public elections like this. So there is no basis for comparison or equalization. I rest my case.
Prof, about certainly something has to be done. And in the end, I mean, sometimes when we go on this path of, okay, so this is not new, then we lose the sight of the agency.
Please respond briefly?
Yes, briefly.
First of all, see, when I come public to express myself, I'm not looking at this or the other party. I'm interested in the national interest. So when I say that this is not new, I'm not comparing NPP, NDC. So this issue of equalization is completely out of nowhere. I'm not interested in that. Secondly, the point is that we all agree that our political system has been monetized, and this agreement occurred long ago. So my point, therefore, is that sure, this may be special. As for the marijuana, frankly, I don't know. I've heard the reports. I didn't see it. I can talk about the money because I witnessed envelopes. I witnessed people lying up by a certain vehicle where money was given. I didn't question that. So it's an eyewitness. So
I see. And this was in this was Ejisu where you witnessed.
Ejisu. It's part of the constituency.
Right.
You see. So I've seen that. And so the point, Sammy, is not engaging in equalization. You politicians do engage in equalization. I'm not interested in that whatsoever. Look, the issue is simple. When I said Kingsley was indiscreet about this, all I mean is that he's saying that he provided lunch. On that basis, I said, even if it was lunch, that would be indiscretion. As for the legalities, you're a lawyer. You guys can go to court, present the evidence, and you deal with it. That's not part of my business. But on a serious note, Sammy, let's agree that our politics has been highly monetized. And if that is the case, let us find a way to sanitize our political process. This is my interest. You see, as for the two parties, I know you can argue and bring evidence here and there. Fine, it's part of it. And citizens have a responsibility to pick on an issue like this. And I like what the media is doing. It's great. Maybe it's part of the education. But after all is said and done, we as a people, not just the political parties, but civil society and all interested parties, we have to begin to put our heads together. What do we do to sanitize our political processes? Because at every election, be it by-election, a general election, wherever where the two parties are competing, we all know. And that's why I said the reports of the CD are replete with these kinds of incidents that they observe and report. But if you think this one is of such a high level, it demands something, that's fine. I have no problem with that. It's not, I have no problem. But seriously, look, if we as a people do not find a better way of managing our political processes, it's going to explode in our places. Everybody knows that.
Let me ask Prof something. Does he agree that one of the better ways of nipping this canker in the bud is denunciation? What he's doing, condemning it. And that is what we are doing, because we don't have the prosecutorial powers to prosecute those who are engaging in vote buying. But when we are brought here by TV3 on a platform like this, what is expected of us is to denounce it in very strong terms. And I think even the MPP rep on the show, at least on the issue of monetization, has denounced it. And that is what we are doing. You see, it is not like we are being hypocritical or anything.
Yes.
Oh, maybe the way hypocritical was unpleasant. I can withdraw that.
Okay, no, gentlemen. Okay, Professor Ajmendia is saying something. Prof, I want to conclude. Yes, conclude on the point. Yes.
Yes, I was saying that if the use of the word hypocritical is offensive, well, I didn't direct it to him or his party. I directed it to Ghanaians, the way we behave politically. Because look, any time over the past 30 years, any political opposition speaks, as great as we all know, in power, their behavior, for me, you may say, oh, it's wrong, but from what you observe of the administration, the governance of these two parties, the difference is very, very slim. That is my observation. And that doesn't mean one party is hypocritical. So it wasn't directed to you.
Well, thank you.
The case for an independent president today in this country. Oh yeah, and strong. No, I'm not joking.
Right.
It's not. I don't think it's a matter that you take lightly.
Indeed.
This is a situation that has brought into very, very sharp focus the need for Ghana to have a government that unites people, unites the nation, comes up with a development plan that is non-partisan and national in nature. Now, a time has come, the time of that thing, all of the discussions and all of the individual issues, the MPP, NDC, and what Professor Ajmendia is saying, let us take a very objective view of our current situation. We need to do that.
And Council, when we spoke within the week, you were expecting that the police would look into this matter. That has been done. Special prosecutor has taken interest. Then what next? Quickly, before we...
Yeah, so special prosecutor, it's good that the special prosecutor is coming because the police don't have jurisdiction or a mandate to investigate bribery and corruption in public elections. That has been high.
Police doesn't have the mandate.
Yes, so it's a special prosecutor. So you remember that even the one that's currently in court, the DC, when he paid money, one of the districts in Ashanti. Yeah, that case, the police started it. But once they saw that they had no mandate to do that, then they handed over the brief or the file to the special prosecutor.
But the marijuana, the police can take it up.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Oh, marijuana, there today, we will not finish repeating it. Yes, because we have to denounce it with all the energy we can master. And you see, so I'll just, very good. So I'll just say that I support the submission made by Sami Jemfi and also Mr. Hininto, right? That...
not me.
Oh, no, on the point that we have to first denounce. You see, name and shame. And you first,
I was the first person to do
Okay. So, and Mr. Mwakwa. He's your namesake.
You're not listening to me.
It's all right. You see, so you start with the naming and shaming and tongue lashing. So, and I also understand Professor Bafo Ajimandua. I understand there are times I felt like that. I think what he was thinking was that, Master, you don't have much time. Go straight into what should we do? So I kind of understand. There are times I felt like that we are losing time on the story. It's about what should we do. So clearly, we are supporting OSP and the police to go into this matter. And remember, I even mentioned earlier in the week that we should shine more sunshine on the case going on somewhere in Kumasi, the district assembly, the election of the DC,
yes.
Yeah, where he paid money and the OSP is prosecuting. Because the more we give updates on it, then the more it will inform our politicians that, hey, Ghana is changing. Ghana is changing. Because I can remember in 1992, they said, people distributing chamber pots, so much money and the rest. Yes, you could see it on TV. They go to the rallies and then they distribute, right?
We have grown over time.
Yes, sewing machines, you see it. Yes, those days, right? So it tells you, and this is how, if you watch, you read history.
At the point,
tilapia, good. If you read the history of other countries, thank you. Yes, the matches box. That's a very popular example. Yeah, matches. Matches. Yes, they would add money. Yes, sometimes they open yeah.
Right.
So the point is that if you watch the trajectory, so you see that through this naming and shaming, we are improving, except that the pace is slow. So I can understand Professor Bafo.
Right.
But so let's hurry up, because you remember even last week when we were talking about the code of conduct for public officers, I mentioned that as soon as we are done with it, then quickly let's go to political party financing, because it is the bigger problem. Look, a contractor comes to give you 1 million Ghana. You come into office, he will reap over $100 million. Easy, because you give him so many contracts, then he can give kickbacks. So that is what we are confronted with. And so let's hurry up. Kwame Nkrumah said it. Look, this pace has to be very fast, very fast.
Thank you, Lawyer Martin Pebo. And while we round up on this, just bear in mind that in the last quarter of last year, during the MPP's primaries in the orphan constituencies, the special prosecutor is already investigating some incidents of vote buying. He published the pictures of some individuals who he said were wanted persons. We don't know the update to that investigation as yet. Stay with us. When we're back, we're getting to the latest on this Cecilia Dapaah case, the Attorney General's advice to the Economic and Organized Crime Office. Professor Bafo Ajimendua is still with us, connect with us, and then I still have my guests in studio. We'll have a conversation after this quick break. What does this advisory mean to the future of this case involving Cecilia Dapaah? We'll be back shortly.
Good afternoon, Auntie. Afternoon, darling. One chilled bottle of Nero Orange, please.
You want the cola, orange, lemon, vino, Nero.
Wow.
Cola, orange, lemon, vino. I'm gonna feel it cool, it refresh your body. Nero Cola, orange, lemon, and Bovino. New non-alcoholic flavored drinks from Nero Beverages. This advert is FDA approved.
2, 3, can we do it together? You don't feel that vibe. I don't feel that vibe. Energy. You don't feel that vibe.
Everything fresh, crisp, and tight on the road to Telesong Ghana Music Awards 2024. Lego!
Road to the Telecel Ghana Music Awards. Show Saturdays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
Telecel, connecting energies.
They are coming from all over the country and even beyond. They are coming to take their place at the table of champions. It's not just a race, it is a movement. 3FM presents Tour du Ghana 2024, the ultimate cycling event, a tour of sheer endurance, grit, power, and perseverance. So seasoned riders, professionals, and leisure riders, mark your calendars for May 18, 2024. 3FM Tour du Ghana is back with a thrill. This year, start point is at the Media General Premises Kanda to the Scenic and Price Hotel in the Eastern region. Register at a fee of 150 Ghana cedis for single riders and 100 Ghana cedis for each rider in a group of 10. Cyclists stand the chance of winning prizes worth 100,000 Ghana cedis. Your registration comes with personal accident cover, feeding and transportation. For more details, contact 0532 200927 or 0531 100927. 3FM Tour du Ghana. Technical partners Ghana Cycling Federation. Proudly sponsored by Malta Guinness, DHL, Blue Medical.
Hi Ghana, it's yours truly, Gloria Safwa. I entreat all of you to watch the Lady Circle. It's actually a circle of lovely, intelligent, and beautiful ladies.
How important are the safety measures being put in place for actors when they go on set?
As an industry, we have a lot to do. We don't prioritize our safety and our well-being at all. Does it have to be like this? Someone had to die?
No, I was actually going to touch on that because I'm like, do we want to
Okay.
put this on the doorstep of just the producers? Because in this case, I hear he was offered a life jacket, but he said it wasn't clean.
It wasn't clean.
So he didn't want to use it.
Vivian Jill. Vivian. I think it's Vivian. Yeah.
It's
Acrobato.
Have you ever forgotten your lines on stage or in a play? Trust your intuition. It helps prevent potential risks as well.
The Ladies Circle shows this Saturday at 6 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Yaz Sanitary.
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We are live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com, and a number of radio stations across the country. The Office of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice this week advised against money laundering investigations in the affairs of the former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. We'll put portions of that advisory on the screen as we go on right now. It follows a determination by the Attorney General's Office that the request by the Office of Special Prosecutor to EOCO to initiate money laundering investigations into the affairs of former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah is without basis. It says, we observed that the OSP did not place a copy of its report on investigations conducted by that outfit on the docket submitted to your office. Goes on, that's the EOCO office. Goes on, says, the OSP's letter to you also did not disclose the basis for suspicion of the commission of the offense of money laundering and structuring. It is thus difficult to ascertain the basis for the OSP's suspicion of the commission of the offense of money laundering and structuring by the suspect. In this case, we're talking about Cecilia Dapaah and the husband. It is noted, however, that the OSP did not present a copy of the report on the collaborative investigations conducted with the FBI to your outfit. Neither are the findings of the transboundary investigations conducted by the OSP stated in the OSP's docket to you. Now, to the extent that, according to the Attorney General, there is no predicate offense to, as it were, be the basis for the suspicion that Cecilia Dapaah was involved in some acts or businesses related to money laundering, there is no basis for this. But Lawyer Martin Pebo, this is a case that really we have followed right from the get-go. In fact, you personally, even before this case became public, had some partial involvement in the case.
Yes.
What does this advisory mean to the future of this particular case, especially that fundamental aspect of establishing the source of the money that was both stolen and retrieved by the OSP?
Well, the advisory is totally wrong.
It's wrong?
It's wrong in law, and I say it with humility, okay? Because as a lawyer, I'm aware that I also don't know it all. Okay, we all make mistakes. But this one, the Attorney General's representative got it wrong. Well, Dami didn't sign this one himself. I think Madam Evelyn Kilson signed it. It's wrong. You see, this matter of predicate offense, we've moved on. We've moved on. The law is changed. But, it happens. Maybe because it's relatively new, we all haven't had time to read it. The law is changed. Listen, in Act 1044, Parliament has made it very clear that they, as our representatives, are shifting away from a requirement for a predicate offense in order to prosecute for money laundering. Parliament was very clear, and lawyers will tell you that, look, when Parliament is clear, the courts told that line. Very clear. The language is clear in Section 1, subsection 3 of the Act, that when we are investigating for money laundering and we cannot make a headway, we don't know, like the Cecilia Dapaah matter, we are trying, we can't find the source, we can't pin it down to, let's say, bribery and corruption, we can't pin it down to stealing, we can't pin it down to any other offense, the one we call the predicate. That's, you have to first show that this money was obtained from what? Stealing, narcotics, etc. and then the person tries to do business with it. That's the laundering. So that when the person takes profit, then the person will say, no, it's profit from a business, right? So even when we cannot prove the predicate, Parliament says now the new law is that check with the person. You too, can you explain the source of that money? How can you do it? If you can't, then you are guilty. If you can't, you are guilty. And that is what we've stated in Article 286 Clause 4. Before we come to 286 Clause 4, let's go to the memo of the Act.
Right.
Parliament was very clear that they've moved on. So please, let's stop. Anybody who tells you again that you need a predicate offense in order to prosecute money laundering, it's not talking Ghanaian law.
The Anti-Money Laundering Act is what you are going into now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So straight, look at the bill. This is what the bill says. The clause, that's talking about clause 1, it says, the clause seeks to ensure Ghana fully meets the requirements under Recommendation 3 of the Financial Action Task Force, which requires that when proving that property is the proceeds of crime, listen, it should not be necessary that a person be convicted of a predicate offense. Says it is not necessary. Then go on. The clause therefore introduces a component which distinguishes the offense of money laundering as a stand-alone offense. Please. Stand alone. That is what the bill says. And if you go into the Interpretation Act, now we have the Interpretation Act 2009. Now allows us, a lot more, though we used to use it, but it now gives a lot more weight to the memorandum in interpreting. Let's go and read Section 1, Clause 3. It says this.
Okay.
Listen. It says, where a person under investigation for money laundering is in possession or control of property which the person cannot account for and which is disproportionate to the income of that person from known sources, that person shall be deemed to have committed an offense under subsection 2. And when they say subsection 2, so that's the one that says money laundering means you are covering it. So let's just read for emphasis. It says, a person, so that's the subsection 2, a person commits an offense of money laundering if the person knows or ought to have known that a property is or forms part of the proceeds of unlawful activity, and the person, A, converts, conceals, disguises, or transfers the property for the purpose of concealing or disguising the illicit origin of the property, or assisting any person who is involved in the commission of the unlawful activity to evade the legal consequences of the unlawful activity. So if you go on and on, so what they're saying is that, like what I described earlier, so you steal money, you do narcotics trick to get money, or commit any other, maybe you are hired as a hired gun, kill X for, let's say, $100,000, you do it, then you get it, then you go set up a boutique and start trading so that the profit, then you say, oh, the money is from boutique, cool. They're saying, so if Yoko comes after you, or if it is private money, the Supreme Court says it's only police that can investigate. It is when it is government money that the Yoko has this in the mandate for money laundering. But private, it is the police. So whether police or Yoko, or even let's say both, come after you, we are saying that, listen, if you can't explain this 100,000 you used to set up this boutique, you can't explain properly where you
the
got
money
it
is coming from.
Please, the offense is committed. It's simple. Parliament is very clear. So throw away this predicating. Yes, that's what we all learned. But Parliament has moved on. And let's also note that it's not just Parliament moving on. That has long been our law under Article 286, Clause 4, saying that if you have money, you have anything that you can't explain, then it's illegal. So let's read it. It says, 286 Clause 4. any property or assets acquired by a public officer after the initial declaration required by clause 1 of this article and which is not reasonably attributable to income, gift, loan, inheritance, or any other reasonable source shall be deemed to have been acquired in contravention of this Constitution. So, 1992, that has always been our law. Then 2020, so you see that even we are ahead of the Financial Action Task Force. We are ahead of them. 1992, they didn't have this.
So we even lifted a notch higher.
Yes, from 92, except that, you know, this docility, we are not able to implement because people don't want to report. We are all enablers. You see your father with many cars and you are happy because you're looking for 10 cars, 20 houses, etc. You're looking to inherit, so you don't want to report him to the police, right? So because we are all enablers, that's how come we've not been able to implement the law that much. But it's always been the law. So please, don't make any sex statement that you need a predicate offense.
Because that's what the Attorney General is saying.
No, it's wrong.
That the OSP did not disclose the basis for suspicion of the commission of the offense of money laundering.
It's hogwash.
Yoko should not go and waste their time.
Hogwash. It's absolutely wrong. So, you see, earlier in the week, when I was doing the debate, I hadn't gone for the memo. So, because people were saying, hey, you need predicate, and that's what all lawyers will tell you, then I was like, hey, maybe I'm wrong. So, I spoke to an expert on the matter. The expert looked at it and said, no. Then, long story short, by the time we're done, then the expert said, look, Martin, you know what? Go and bring the memo, let's see. Maybe there's a cure. So yesterday, went around looking for this memo. Long story short, eventually I got it. I called the expert. He said, what are you saying? Send it to me. The expert read it. He said, look, Charlie, you go on. That's it. So please, the memo is clear that Parliament says we've created a new law. And actually, fact, this thing is not that new. It's in Article 286, Clause 4. We are investigating you. We can't pin the predicate offense. You too, you can't explain the source. Please, it's money laundering. And that's not even the first. So let's quickly add the Madame Dapaah facts before we go to other types of money laundering that this is not the first. So far, OSP investigations show that Madame Dapaah could not explain the source of the money, right? The first time, the 800,000, he said it belongs to the deceased brother. She got it from what? Donations during the funeral. Then the deceased brother's wife was going to court with William Kusi, lawyer in Kumasi. Then Madame Dapaah backtracked and said, no.
It's not a brother.
Yes. Then number 2, she now said she was doing cosmetic business. 2 businesses she cited. The OSP report came out. When OSP went to do the investigations, those businesses didn't check out. They didn't belong to Madame Dapaah. So you see that Madame Dapaah has lost credibility. She's attempted 3 times to explain, and she couldn't explain. So it's done. This is an open and shut case. Please, Godfrey Dami, listen. You are not the only lawyer in Ghana. We all make mistakes. This thing is clearly a mistake. Withdraw it. And the funny thing is that, that it's curious that this is the second time we've had such a report from Attorney General's office. He doesn't sign it. And if Skilson is the one who signs. And it's always, you remember the Frimpong Boateng thing. When it came, it had similar issues. Frimpong Boateng document, his dossier had good evidence of galamsey. Yet AG and Mrs. Skilson, they came out of this report, there's nothing. When all of that, Gabi had admitted that yes, he had called Frimpong Boateng, right? And then there were pictures of distraction in the Frimpong Boateng report. Yet AG and Madam Kilson came out with a report that, there's nothing. You see, Ghanaians, we couldn't fight. We've left that one. So they know that we are weak. That's why these things continue to happen.
Well, you see, in the end, the fundamental
And then can we add the last
yes.
point on money laundering?
Right.
Now, apart from that, not needing a predicate, there's also the matter of if you go into the Financial Action Task Force, the rules, and you see Ghana had to pass the Act 1044 to comply with the international requirements. Look, right now, if you come into Ghana, let's say, okay, I'll not use Sami Jemfi. There's a certain government officer. We all know there's a story like that. Even Accra FM Broadcasting, that person went into America with some millions of dollars, right? Once it's beyond the 10,000 threshold and it wasn't disclosed, the U.S. government people took their money, right? What we're saying is that your failure to disclose it in itself, Yes, it can be used as basis for money laundering to charge you.
To the extent that you can't even, you didn't disclose.
Yes. Yes.
The money.
Yes, even though it may be your genuine this money you sweated for it, etc. But because you didn't disclose and then you were caught and all those, they can use it as basis. So this not so the principle that you need a predicate offense. Ghana has moved on. We've moved on. Parliament is clear that we have introduced a new stand-alone offense. Money laundering in Ghana now is a stand-alone offense. You don't need a predicate offense. If you get it, it's a bonanza. If you don't, Parliament says money laundering now is a stand-alone offense. You don't need a predicate offense.
So what is the Attorney General looking at that we are not seeing? Because all the references you have made clearly indicates a progress of the law. In fact, beyond what the Attorney General's office is making reference to, that the OSP needed to have established a predicate offense before even warranting any investigation into money laundering. But, Layamakwa, we should be concerned, at least, about establishing the source of this money, if not for nothing at all, for good governance sake, isn't it?
I am careful, very careful when talking about the Cecilia Dapaah matter. A being that I'm not a lawyer. And,
but you are a lawyer.
Yes, I'm not a lawyer. And I'm not touting for the case we brought to me. My learned friend, Victoria Dapaah, is doing a good job. She's been instructed, she's been paid for matters like that. However, it is the haste with which we attempt at resolving this matter in a public space that I am concerned about. You see, money has been found with someone. We've done all the backs and forth instead of going into the matter. We've attached all political spins to it. In the end, we haven't made any progress. If it was just a political spin, man, you know what we thought the political capital we would get after we coined this song, Woyomi, Woyomi, Woyomi. Where did it go? It is dealing with the issues. Okay, I was of the candid view that if you're talking about money laundering, then you have to establish that.
The predicate offense.
You have to establish that there has been some, because you look at Section 2, a person commits an offense of money laundering if the person knows or ought to have known that a property is or forms part of a process of unlawful activity. Okay? Now, if you look at, so I'm not even going to Constitution or whatnot. If you look at Section 3 of the same Act, talking about Act 1044, Section 3, says that where a person under investigation for money laundering is in possession or control of property which the person cannot account for, and is disproportionate to the income of that person. That is the phrase. It's proportionate to the income of that person.
So cannot account for, and it's not consistent with the person's earnings.
No. Disproportionate to the income of the person.
Exactly. That's
from whom, from known sources. That person shall be deemed to have committed an offense after that. Shall be deemed. Okay. So yes, there's a lot of issues that come out. I am saying that we need to depoliticize it, all right, and look at this particular phenomenon and deal with it. Rather than, we talk, I mean, I like the way Martin started, that he's not the be-all, know-all of law, of all law, all right? But then, as to why you question whether or not Evelyn Kilson is the one who signed it and all that, I don't think it arises. It's a document emanating from the AG's department. If you have a contrary view, express it. Now, I believe that if you depoliticize it, the AG itself has said that the docket is not closed. In fact, criminal law, you can't, at any point in time you discover something, you are at liberty to bring it to court. And so let's watch this space rather than invoking all the know-hows or political activities to impinge on this. And then let's deal with the matter.
Well, no, yes, I don't think, well, beyond the politics, you also would get concerned when you see such advisories coming from none other but the lawyer for government or the office of the lawyer for government, because the various provisions in the law as read by lawyer Martin Pebu and then lawyer Mwakwa, you don't even need to be a lawyer to understand that there need not be the establishment of a predicate offense or an original offense of money laundering before an investigative body should take interest in investigating an act or a suspicion of money laundering. Yet, there's an advisory that, you know what, don't go and waste your time investigating money laundering. How does that get to you?
Well, actually, I got the notice to participate in this discussion really late last night. So when I saw the outline and there was this question, I started calling all the lawyers that I knew because I am not a lawyer, but I'm interested.
Indeed.
I'm very, very much. I called about 10 or so lawyers. Yeah. Wow. And I couldn't get this one. I said no. Then I wasn't going to participate because, but I said no. But this matter too is of interest.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So this morning, I got one of them called me on my way here, and then took me through it and said, "Look, this thing about this predicate matter." He brought it up briefly. I didn't even understand it as much because I was driving when he called me. So now that Lawyer Pebu did the education, I have gotten very, very well educated right now. But even without getting into the technicality of it, the one thing that worried me about the Ejisu memo was the last paragraph. Okay. The last paragraph of the memo that said, even though as part of your mandate, you could commence investigations into the sources of the money found in the home of the suspects, we do not find this necessary, since this office, before the reference by OSP, had instructed the police service, who already seized with the other aspects of the case, to investigate the sources of the huge sums of money found in the house of the suspects. So I said, the AG is saying that the AG is saying that the IOCO has the mandate.
Sure.
But we don't think it's necessary. I thought that was very worrying. If they have a mandate, and in law, there is no problem, and if they should investigate, they would be in their rightful legal mandate, and they will be performing their legal functions properly. Why should what I consider to be a discretionary statement, a discretionary directive, stop them from investigating a matter of this kind of magnitude? Now, you see, we don't need to politicize it. But the thing is that if it turns out to be an offense, it's been committed by a politician. So there would be the legal side, there would be the political side. You can't take it away. And those of us who are not lawyers, but who are trying to understand the legalities of it, would also realize that, this is a public official. Not just a public official, a minister. Not just a minister of the current government. My concerns on this matter stems from a statement that the President, Akufo-Addo, made when this issue broke. When he said that he has absolute faith that by the time all the chips are down, the matters are investigated, Madam Cecilia Dapaah would be innocent. I thought that was a horrible statement for the President, who himself is a lawyer, and who is the head of government, under whom all public institutions operate, to have said that. If I were an investigator, and you assign me to go investigate this matter, with this statement of the President at the back of my mind, Massa, what do you expect me to do? I should investigate and implicate somebody, even on the basis of evidence? It's not everybody who can gather that kind of courage. So I think to that extent, the President himself may have compromised the whole process right from day one.
With that singular statement?
With that statement, I think it was unfortunate, And it may have even influenced even the Attorney General. The Attorney General was appointed by the President. So once you get a sense of where the President wants this matter to drift, Master, if you don't have the kind of courage that some of us have, you can't go too far. I'm telling you. And that is real. So the President himself has not helped this matter. Before you get it, that will be the politics of it. Because what he said was not legal, it was political. The President himself politicized this matter from day one. Before even the lawyers come in, before the investigators come in, he had cast a shadow over the issue. So the President has to find a way of sending a signal that he is really ready to fight corruption. Because if you do this kind of thing, you put the fear of God, in quotes, in people, the people who are supposed to take up the law and fight for the good of the nation, to fight corruption. As soon as you do some of these things, you put them in a very weak position. And that, for me, doesn't convince anybody that President Akufo-Addo is serious about fighting corruption. Now, when an individual issue arises, it gives you a sense of what the totality of the environment looks like. So this matter has come. This is what the President says. Is it any wonder that, truly speaking, President Akufo-Addo, who had promised that he was going to protect the public purse and that not under his watch was corruption going to be hasn't really done much. And the evidence is there for everybody to see. So I think that I am happy. The lawyers have explained. The law is there. The Attorney General has to take a second look at the directive that he gave Iyoko and the bodies responsible for investigating not just this matter. I'm sure there are a whole lot of others, but this comes as a very big issue, considering whose name is involved. So these matters should not be politicized to that extent, but because the President also took a certain position, because the investigative agencies appear not to be enabled enough and resourced enough and giving enough confidence in themselves to be able to do the work, we don't see much. We see a lot of talk about the fight against corruption. This would be a test case. The President has a couple of months to go. This should be a test case. It is his government, it is his Attorney General, and Ghanaians want to see what we get out of some of the promises.
Development goes also to entrench that suspicion or that kind of notion that people had that right from the get-go, this case was going to end as a foolish case.
Nowhere. You see, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure maybe what the President said would have played in there. Because the monies we're talking about, even if it were an individual, a private person, who had these kinds of monies in their rooms, I don't think it is good for society. It's not good for the economy. Maybe there is no law that says don't keep your savings or your money under your bed and in your bedroom and so on and so forth. I'm sure there might be no such law. But everybody knows that it is not quite good practice. Whether even in terms of the safety of your own money or even the health of the economy, for individuals to keep large sums of physical cash in their bedrooms and in their wardrobes. It just doesn't help the economy. And much more so for a public official, even if it is not bad money, to just hold it and deny the system of such resources, I don't think is good enough, to say the least. So sometimes I don't think the law alone should inform us how to behave. We are getting to the point where morality and moral standards are totally lost. And right now, all that you need is to show affluence and everybody respects you. And that's the end of it. I think as citizens, we should begin to question how some people, and particularly those who get into public office, begin to acquire property upon property upon property upon property. This is a very sensitive matter, so I won't mention names. I went to Kumasi, And a sitting minister of this government, somebody took me to some part of Kumasi and said, this place is called so-and-so street. You see this, that property is for, that's why this street has been named. And he doesn't live there.
Yeah, but the street has been named after him.
Yeah. And I said,
but I know. Minister.
Yes. You see, so when these things happen, and the legality and everything is not clear, so you can't touch the person because of politics, then nobody should touch the smaller fishes who commit minor offenses of corruption or whatever. I mean, it's a challenge to us, but I think people in authority should show that they are indeed ready to get the law working so that our society will get better.
Very important there. On this, because you already indicated that you're going to reopen this case or get into this case. I mean, I'm talking about the flag bearer of the NDC. The Attorney General's office is saying that the case has not been closed. There are still aspects of investigation that are ongoing.
Well, my brother, the truth of the matter is that there is a grand conspiracy by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government to cover up the truth and the real facts of the Cecilia Dapaah case. This should be obvious to any objective bystander. You don't have to be a lawyer to appreciate this truth. And in fact, this matter is not technical at all. It is not legalese at all. Any objective, ordinary mind can appreciate this truth, these facts for themselves. You see, what are we talking about here? We are talking about an incident which occurred, where we're told that large sums of money were found at the residence of a public officer. At the time, a certain minister of state. We're talking about huge sums of money, millions of dollars, and some amounts in euros, some in cedis and all that. The entire nation was outraged by the gargantuan amounts, which per court documents we saw were in the custody of this Ministry of State at her residence. And the issues that were raised were basically twofold. That number one, what is the source of this money? Because, to the ordinary man, this amount of money is disproportionate to the income of any sitting Ministry of State. So legitimate questions were asked as to how this Ministry of State could have come by this money. The second issue that was raised by the public was how come that this money, this huge amount of money, was being kept in dollars and euros and so on, and more importantly, being kept at the residence instead of in a bank account and all that. So these were the issues that were raised, which for me were legitimate issues. Now, at the time, we as a party said we're not going to convict Madame Cecilia Dapaah pending investigations. We never pronounced her guilty. We never said she was guilty of any offense. All we and other like-minded Ghanaians called for were credible, transparent investigations for us to ascertain the source of that money and whether or not she could account for that money. If she was able to account for that money, matter ends. Nobody can say that she's a criminal. But if she's not able to account for that money, then it raises serious legal issues that are worth probing and even prosecuting, because that will border on criminal offenses and all that. So that was the open mind that we approached this matter when it first broke. Let's conduct credible and transparent investigations. And my brother, right from the get-go, this government, led by the president himself, has acted in ways that shows that they are not interested in an investigation at all. And you see, if they think that they are helping Madame Cecilia Dapaah in doing so, then they are mistaken, because they are actually worsening the case for Cecilia Dapaah. Because it is in the interest of Cecilia Dapaah that this matter is investigated in a credible and transparent way that engenders confidence in the process, that she is able to make a case and justify the source of this money and why she was keeping that home. And look at what the president did. Nana just recounted that. A president who is a lawyer of many years standing at the bar just makes a prejudicial comment, prejudging the entire investigation that, look, I'm the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. You know that the prosecutorial powers of the state are vested in the Attorney General. That is the main prosecutorial powers. And the president is his boss. He's not independent. The president is his boss. So, by extension, the president has the power to determine who to prosecute and who not to prosecute. Because the Attorney General, who by virtue of Article 88 has those prosecutorial powers, is his appointee. He has the prerogative to hire him or fire him. He answers to him. And so this person, the president of the land, comes to make a prejudicial comment that the investigations, I know that the investigations will amount to nothing. And at the end of the day, you'll be acquitted. Your innocence will be vindicated. Straight away, I said, look, this man has messed up Cecilia Dapaah big time. Because Ghanaians are discerning. Ghanaians are very discerning. Once you do that, everybody knows that the corruption clearing agent is at it again. He is trying to cover up something. Then fast forward, the special prosecutor takes up this matter. I have not been enthused at all with the way the special prosecutor handled the matter.
Why?
I think he was whining too much and lamenting too much, and this Ankonam song and all those narratives for me was totally unacceptable.
He was facing challenges.
No, if you were facing challenges, we all face challenges. This Ankonam tenor, you are a creation of law. You have powers. You have exercise your powers, and you are here singing Ankonam, Ibuafo, and all those things. You understand? He conducted a search, made certain findings which he didn't make public because it could have, undermined the investigations. And so I was expecting that if he came to the conclusion that this matter fell outside his jurisdiction as special prosecutor and wanted to refer it to Iyoko, he should have at least added the findings he made through that search and the other investigations he conducted. He even told us that he collaborated with the FBI and other external agencies in investigating the matter. What were your findings? Even if not conclusive, what prima facie evidence did you come by so that you supplied that to Iyoko? I think that is also a missing link. But what is most outrageous in this conversation is the acts by Iyoko. And I think so far it has not been raised. The decision by Iyoko to write to the Attorney General for advice on whether or not he should investigate a matter. Master, I have never heard some of this thing before. I have never. Look at the Iyoko Act and look at the governing board. The governing board of Iyoko has a rep from the IGP, a rep from the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Department. Is there? Check. All of them are there. And they have been given a clear mandate under the Iyoko Act. If you check section 2A, it says the object of the office are to prevent and detect organized crime. That is the purpose for which we set up Iyoko. Now look at section 3, functions. The functions of the office, that is of Iyoko, are to investigate and on the authority of the Attorney General, prosecute serious offenses that involve money laundering. So when they are investigating, they are not investigating on the authority of the Attorney General. It is the prosecution that they do on the basis of the powers the Attorney General has already ceded to them under law.
And the original request...
So you don't need the permission of Godfrey Dami before you investigate a matter. This is what it says. To investigate and on the authority of the Attorney General, prosecute serious offenses that involve money laundering. So you have the powers to investigate money laundering. You don't need the Attorney General to give you an advice and tell you whether to investigate a matter or not to investigate a matter. The fact that they wrote that letter shows that there was a conspiracy. We don't want to investigate the matter, so we will bring you a letter for advice. Then you tell us, so that Tiwa Dodankwa, who is the head of Iyoko, can get a cover. That I didn't investigate it because the Attorney General, who is the principal legal advisor of government, told me not to investigate. That's a cock and bull story. Like lawyer Martin Pegbu said, this is hogwash. balderdash. It simply doesn't make sense. You have a mandate. And assume, and you see, even if the special prosecutor did not give you any facts, findings, or evidence as per his own investigations, you have the right to conduct your own investigations. In this country, we've had several institutions where the police will investigate a matter. The whole matter is given to another agency to investigate. In the Oponi matter, Iyoko investigated. After that, the Attorney General still took the matter and gave it to the CID to do their own investigations as well. Why? In the Charles B.C. Galamsey fraud matter. At the time the special prosecutor was seized with the matter, then Martinami do investigating it. Didn't they give the same matter to the CID to also investigate? So the point is that even at the time the special prosecutor was doing his investigation, Iyoko could have done their own investigations. The FIC, who have been given the mandate under the Anti-Money Laundering Act to investigate money laundering, could have also done their own investigations. So this thing about don't investigate a matter, I mean, that. What is wrong with investigation? Means you just want to ascertain the facts and evidence to establish the existence of an offense or otherwise. What is so difficult about an investigation that the Iyoko cannot do, that they require direction from the Attorney General, who right from the get-go has shown that he's not interested in unearthing the truth in this matter? Then, apart from this, the Attorney General writes this useless, nonsensical letter.
What is it about that you're saying is useless?
Lawyer Martin Pebu has done justice to the issue. Need I belabor the point? Section 1.3 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act is clear. Very clear. It is English. You don't have to be a lawyer to understand it. And Section 1.3, you can put it back on the screen. It says that once money is found in your custody and you cannot account for the money, and that money is disproportionate to your income, you shall, not may, mandatory, you shall be deemed to have committed the offense of money laundering. Simple as it. Asa. Senior, you don't even have to look at the memo. This one is clear.
So that's because people were challenging
at 1044. We'll
it is clear. The money is found in your custody. You can't account for it. That money is disproportionate to your income. So the question is, you can only tell Iyoko not to investigate if Madam Cecilia Dapaah has satisfactorily accounted for the money, or it has been established that that money is proportionate to her sources of income. Then matter closed. Then you give us those facts and we all interrogate it. What they are doing, they are damaging Cecilia Dapaah the more. They are not helping. Because you see, people are discerning in this day of new media. Go and see the comments on social media. Who are they trying to fool? And that is why His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, the nation builder, the incoming president of the Republic of Ghana, inshallah, by the grace of God, by the mercies of the people of this country, has served notice that we will reopen investigations into this matter when Ghanaians give us the nod and we are sworn into office on the 7th of January 2025. We will reopen investigations because we must get to the bottom of this matter. If the woman has not committed an offense, then she's vindicated. But if she came by this man, and the reason why this is a matter of considerable public interest is that this woman was a public officer. She was a minister of state. If she was a private citizen, it's a different matter. You understand? So it is in the interest of the nation for us to know what is wrong with that. That you can't do a simple investigation. Iyoko can't do this simple investigation. They need Dami to tell them. And Dami ends by saying that, yes, you have the mandate to do the investigation, but it is not necessary. Does the Attorney General give legal advice on what is necessary or unnecessary? Is that even his mandate? No. It's like this man doesn't know his job. This Godfrey Dami,
so
who claims to be the all-knowing person when it comes to law in this country. Attorney General gives legal advice. With the consent of the Attorney General in giving any advice is whether or not an act is lawful or not lawful. It's not his mandate doesn't bother on what is necessary or unnecessary. Who is he to determine that you have a mandate to do something but it is not necessary? Is that part of the work of an Attorney General? What do they take us for? So please, let's not belabor this point. Look, for those watching, there is no way that we can come to the bottom of this and the many other corruption scandals we have witnessed under this government, under the reign of this corruption clearing agent, President Akufo-Addo, and his complicit Vice President Alhaji Bawumia, who himself is very corrupt, as Lawyer Martin Pibu has already demonstrated. Very corrupt.
Absolutely.
They can't fight corruption. Corruption has rather fought them and defeated them and converted them to be their chief apostles. So they themselves are the ones that can say opinion if one for opinion or it is because these leaders themselves are inherently corrupt. That is why they don't even have any commitment to investigate. We are not saying the woman is corrupt, just investigate.
But
you understand?
On that score, I would say then that of the three personalities who are standing for president today, Alan Chemating is the only one that Ghanaians can confirm.
We are not corrupt. Has a soft spot for the butterfly.
Oh no, we don't
want to kill. We don't want to kill that. We even need an alliance for change with you. You understand?
You haven't said it.
It is good for you to come and join and support the winning team. But however, he knows. Oh, of course. Oh, don't you know of the alliance of change?
No. If that's
you don't know of how Akufo won 2000, eh?
People don't have a right to choose what.
You don't know how Akufo won 2000.
I mean, why do you express such?
I'm very optimistic that we'll get such an alliance.
I am saying.
No. Let me conclude.
I am saying, and so
what I can say, what I can say, in all honesty, is that Alan Chemating is not as corrupt as Bawumia. That's what I can say.
It's not.
I can say that. I can even take that. But you know. So, no, hold on.
That one is
because as minister, he's been minister of trade, right? And not even one corrupt act has been established.
No.
But you know that Alan's brother, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, when it comes to the commitment to the fight against corruption, including prosecuting your own party people, nobody under this Fourth Republic has demonstrated that commitment than John Mahama. He did it in the Jida case. He did it in the National Service scandal. He did it in the Smarties Bus Branding scandal, where he ensured that payments made under illegal contracts were retrieved for the state. People were prosecuted, including his own party people. That is the man we are talking about. Okay. Your candidate has some similarities with him, so we can partner and rescue this country and redeem. That's all Bawumia and brother. They are basket case.
Who decides who I go into partnership with? Is it
I hope you understand the point of our system. But we are all being fair. Somebody is judging this.
I've never said you shouldn't. Even before then, I said we would approach you.
The president already stood on the Ejisu platform and said, Fafanto is already in bed with NDC. And so what?
Please.
I mean, so what?
I was saying something. Please. I'll say something. In respect of the elections, 2024 elections, incoming elections, all right, we are looking at someone who has not been there before, who has now come, who has potential 8 years, and his vision, as against someone who has been there before, who only has 4 years. Okay? So, the context is about the future. Of course, it's going to be underpinned by what your government has done, has achieved before. Okay? But it's about the future, not individuals, so to say, who may have had some infractions. If as we sit here, we are not saying that of a truth, Cecilia Dapaah has committed an offense.
No, precisely. Establish that.
Precisely. We are not saying that. In fact, Sami said that if she's investigated and she is tried and she goes scot-free, she goes scot-free. So let us not create that impression that because of this, definitely some infractions have been done. Nobody's preventing investigation. He said that the police are already investigating. That's what he said. He didn't say stop. He said, oh no. He said, but he didn't say stop. It is so then you can equally contact the police for what they have done.
Right.
So, but he doesn't need to, as you are saying, doesn't need to give instructions. He's saying that the police are already doing that.
Is the police close with the law to investigate money laundering?
And prosecute money laundering.
Is the police close with the law?
So let's clarify this.
It's a CID
the police, the Supreme Court says that when it is private money, it's for the police to do money laundering.
Right.
But when it's government money, it's the Yoko.
And that's why the Yoko.
Yeah, but that is prosecuting, not investigating.
Oh,
so if the police,
you know that the AG has even given useful information. The AG has even given the police.
Alfred, before coming here,
the amounts.
Someone looked at the pictures of those cameras.
They have thresholds,
and he said
they cannot cross.
Someone looked at.
He made a statement that
someone looked at those. No, it's my time.
Hold on.
I just wanted to tell you something.
Sorry, it's my time. You have said a lot of things. Let me also talk. Someone said that you are going to the Lions then. Look at the panel. I said, we are coming to represent...
Your former general secretary seated by you, and you're describing him as a lion. So he's a lion.
So the same thing I'm trying to address, you are still looking. Stop that. Stop that.
That's why, because you know it's not the case.
You see, and I said here, those who watch us want the truth.
Indeed.
So when you come, you speak the truth.
That's all.
You cannot take any Ghanaian for granted.
Absolutely.
It is not our party who takes a Ghanaian for granted. The fact is that criminal matters, they never end. There's no status of limitation for that. But you cannot say that because the AG is saying that another unit is already investigating. And therefore, we have said that you shouldn't prosecute or anything of that sort. We talk about investigation. It's for them, it's an advice. It's for them to know what they do about the matter. Okay. Now, in relating this to then everything has been under auspices of a clearing agent president and whatnot. We have had instances where people have been tried, where their actions occurred under the same former president. The recent one was the Maslog boss. Okay? Should we politicize that? No. Individuals commit offenses, they face the music. If the music is better, they drink it themselves. We make sure, as a nation, we make sure that the state's coffers are protected. That's what we are here for.
Okay.
No one is here. Oh no! It's otherwise then I also have the right to reply.
And you've come back.
No.
Just a brief comment. Don't be worried about that. All I wanted to say, just a comment. We are not when we say he's a clearing agent. What we mean is that he covers up corruption in his own government, doesn't allow for transparent investigations and prosecutions and punishment of his own appointees. And I can give you a countless list of that. But what I want to tell my brother is that the impact of a leader is not determined based on the amount of time that leader has to serve a nation.
Okay.
It is determined by the quality of the personality of that leader and his dedication to serve his people. For your information, the entire ministry, are you a Christian? Senior, are you a Christian?
Yes, he is.
You're a Christian. Do you know that the entire ministry of our Lord and personal Savior Jesus Christ lasted for only 3 years? Yet he has made an indelible impact, which for ages, centuries upon centuries, is remembered. An indelible impact. 3 years.
Okay.
4 years is more than enough.
Thank you.
If 4 years was enough for you to destroy Ghana, then 4 years is more than enough for John Mahama to transform Ghana. Please.
4 years is not enough.
Oh, let me explain what he. No. Just 5 seconds on that. They've been saying this. No. They've been saying this. Let me explain this to you. What the man meant. What His Excellency John Dramani Mahama meant was that 1 term, which is 4 years, is not enough. So he was asking for a second term. So once he is giving the second term, it becomes enough. He was trying to say that 1 term of 4 years is not enough. But that he needed a second term. No. He has said he doesn't need the honeymoon. The economy will need a grace period to cover before we can increase salaries.
Within that 1 year, within that honeymoon of liberty, he has to be appointing people. Can you imagine that? So how many years is left for him to do what he has?
Every government since the question has been given a honeymoon to settle down before it starts paying remuneration and all those things. Yes.
This question is about if this decision or this advice is wrong in law, what is the remedy to this? This is coming from a statesman.
Is that about putting pressure on you to do that?
Absolutely.
Is the advice wrong in law?
It is. It is.
Wrong.
Let's not waste time on this. It's wrong. So look, we have to put pressure. But if the Attorney General is honorable enough, he will quickly pull it back. He will withdraw it, and then they will issue a fresh one, because this cannot stand. Right. This will not stand. Otherwise, then the next step is that we'll go to court. We'll go to court. Yeah, we will not waste time on this. And so let's do we have time to discuss how Yoko sat down and the money was returned to Madam Dapaah?
In fact, that is just part that I wanted to end with you, because you say that the money could have actually been retrieved.
Yes.
The money could have been retrieved.
Yes.
Even though the court had ordered that the special prosecutor should return the money to Cecilia Dapaah?
Absolutely.
How could that have been done?
Yes, so the court, it was on the 25th of January, OSP went to court to say they were withdrawing, right? They were withdrawing the application. That's for confirmation of the seizure. That's about $540,000 and $2.7 million they found in Madam Dapaah's house. And then withdrawal of the confirmation of the freezing orders. The money in their accounts, that money that at a point we're hearing was more than 50 million, right? Mm-hmm. Good. So once he withdrew, then the judge said, return the money within 72 hours. Mm-hmm. Return the money within 72 hours. Now, as soon as that was done, we came here Saturday, 27th January. Yes. You can pull it back. Viewers can Google and see. I was here and I said, hey, Madam Dapaah, be sure that at the time, I said Madam Dapaah, sorry, Yoko, be sure that at the time Kisei Jabe is handing over the money, you are on site to also collect. Because you are now going to do money laundering investigations. Because OSP went to court or based his application on corruption and corruption-related offenses. Mm-hmm. And later I saw that Mr. Jabin said he wasn't getting evidence, so he's pulling back. Yeah, so Yoko was going to take over to do money laundering. I swear, listen, this money, this money. No, we can't continue to do this. This is no brainer. This is no brainer. When I say people should resign, then you find intermediaries calling me left, right, center, begging that why are you saying Tiwa Dankwa should resign? Meanwhile, you remember, you remember before then, I'd made this point that if you profile her, listen, the Abu Jinapo and Asensuachiri case, A+ reported. I was
actually saying that. Yes. The swearing is what I wanted you to slow down.
No, but
yes, you know, yes. So okay, so you.
Yes, so you see, here is the case. Tiwa Dankwa. A+ reported that Abu Jinapo and Asensuachiri were taking bribes before Akufo-Addo, before they allowed people to see Akufo-Addo. You took a phone and you are now begging A+ not to press charges. You, the CID, you were CID boss at the time. And A+ recorded. If you Google, you'll find that.
Such a character.
You see, then number 2, Takoradi girls, they had not been found, but to reduce pressure on government, Madam Tiwa Dankwa came and said, oh, we've seen the girls till date. We've not seen them. Then the case of Sewa Bruni, who reported to the same CID that, listen, National Security had raided the armed robbery because of her relationship. She said she was dating Akufo-Addo, right? She said she was dating Sewa Bruni. Am I the one who said it? All other media, please. We are only referring to facts. Has Akufo-Addo come out to deny? She published the text messages between her and Akufo-Addo. That's her boyfriend. Akufo-Addo didn't come out to deny. So me, I can only speak to facts. I didn't concoct them, right? Sewa Bruni is alive. If Akufo-Addo has any issue, she can pursue Sewa Bruni to sue. And then has Akufo-Addo, has he sued Al Jazeera, the gold mafia? Yeah. Al Jazeera, when the guy said he's part of the gold mafia, the smuggling ring, has he sued Al Jazeera? So please give us space. Let's deal with the facts as they are. So the point is that you look at all these cases, and then case number 4, Stephen Ade's case. Amwakwata refers reports to Yoko that Stephen Ade says there's bribery and corruption in the Ministry of Transport. By the way, Amwakwata had previously made the same statement that his place is full of what? Thieves, full of corrupt people.
You mean the Roads and Highways Ministry?
Yes, Amwakwata. Then he reports to Yoko to investigate bribery and corruption. Please, by Section 80 of this OSP Act, Yoko doesn't have any mandate in bribery and corruption. Yet Tiwa Dankwa went into the case. So you see that I have 4 cases in which she has not conducted herself well. So if I say that this woman should resign, it's not personal. Look at all these 4 cases. Look at the, what do you call it? OSP Act, right? Look at the OSP Act, straight. let's go to section 80. 81 says, the Economic and Organized Crime Office Act 2010, Act 804, is amended in section 74 by the deletion of the words corruption and bribery in paragraph A of the definition of serious offense. So, Iyoko doesn't have any mandate in respect of corruption, bribery and corruption, no. Yet, she wrote a report, signed it, that there is no case made out. Stephen Adair didn't justify, he didn't provide more evidence. Meanwhile, you have no basis in the first place to do that.
So that's why you want...
so look at 4 cases. Okay. And as I said, the main point we can't forget is that Saturday, we sat here, even before the Saturday, we started granting interviews as soon as the court decision came out. That, hey, lace with OSP, so that at the time they are handing over this money to Madam Cecilia Dapaah, Iyoko will collect. This simple. If you can't do this, what else can you do? This one, simple. Be on site to collect the money. Wow. And you know, Iyoko also has the same powers of seizure and freezing. Actually, I suspect that's where we copy the OSP powers from. So Iyoko has been doing seizure and freezing long ago. Act 804, 2010, and even before then, right? So, oh, come on, please, please.
Thank you.
This is what makes people say that this country won't...
3 minutes to the top of the hour. And we'll be back shortly after this quick break. We're live on 3FM 92.7 and a number of radio stations across the country. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. I have a number of your messages. We're getting into the SML issue because the majority in Parliament says, really, there is nothing to worry about when it comes to this matter, because I think that Alexander Penyoma-King has knowledge of the details of this KPMG report, which we're all asking that it be made public. He says that the calls for this report to be published or be made public is neither here nor there. He gives some reasons. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
In a world where every moment counts, one team stands ready to deliver the news that shapes our lives. A team driven by truth, integrity, and unwavering dedication. They travel to the front lines in the tireless pursuit of truth to bring you the world stories like never before. Get ready to witness the stories that matter. We have the most trusted voices in journalism who are committed to delivering accurate, balanced, and thought-provoking news. TV3, first in news.
Your favorite programs on TV3 are switching times. Sports Station, which reviews the best sports action on Monday, is now at 5 p.m. And GPL Express eases you into the weekend at 2 p.m. on Saturday. So same shows, revamped, more analytical, but more engaging and better on TV3.
The brightest minds of senior high schools are going head-to-head in a battle of intellect and wit. From over 100 schools, now we have 32 schools from all over the country. Students have and will continue to showcase their prowess in mathematics and English language, in science and general knowledge, with each round keenly contested.
To tempt dash, meaning to take reckless risks.
There are some questions, immediately you finish reading and you look at the posturing of the students, you know that they will not answer.
In dermatology, this word refers to a break in otherwise continuous skin, as seen in the feet of diabetic patients. Yes.
Also.
You are correct.
The bragging rights, the coveted cash prize, and many more are all up for grabs. Welcome to the ultimate showdown in the Sharks Quiz Competition Seniors Edition 7.
The Sharks Season 7 shows Sundays at 1 p.m. only on TV3.
Established proof of any officer of state causing financial loss.
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Yeah, gentlemen. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. Richmond Roxon, private legal practitioner, says, good morning. Alfred, the Attorney General's position on Cecilia Dapaah is wrong in law. More worrying is the AG's directive that further investigations is unnecessary. This stems from the President's statement in response to Cecilia Dapaah's resignation. The President compromised the entire investigation, which is very unfortunate. And that's what Nano Heningto was saying. In fact, there are a number of you who are expressing some joy seeing Nana Oheningto in a long while on a television discussion program like that. I think this is the first time you are coming on this platform, is it not?
It's the first time.
It's the first time you're here.
I've been on this program before.
Welcome. I hope it's been a good welcome so far.
Yeah. I think it's a very important platform, I should say. The issues that you are bringing up are really very important issues for all of us.
Thank you very much. Yeah. This one here, also with no name and no location, says we must all be interested in various forms of corruption, vote buying, cover-ups, and every act of government must be scrutinized by the people. So far, I must say that the MPP person on your show has been quite, objective in addressing the national issues, depoliticizing it, you say. Thank you. Alfred, please, there are pertinent questions I expected to be asked about this EC bribery issue. He brought out and gave the envelope in full and sealed. Is that not premeditated? The Honourable Member of Parliament does not vote in that constituency. Could the other MPs and ministers like him not have done same without accidental camera capture, you say? And I understand why you say it's accidental, because the cameraman was just doing his job. Good morning, Alfred. You may want to, okay, this one, why are we not being told how much was in the envelope? I think the investigations would have to tell all of us that and answer that question. Would that not help us to know if it was indeed lunch or inducement? In fact, the amount is really insignificant in a conversation like this. Thank you very much. About 1,300 of your messages so far. Yes, but I thank you all for the messages coming through. The SML, GRA SML contract or the deal, this agreement, was subjected to an audit at the instance of the President. KPMG, after seeking an extension of time, made the report known and available to the President. President acknowledged receipt, and after weeks of studying it, issued a statement. Since then, there's been conversation about aspects of that statement, plus the questions that have been raised by both the originators of the investigation, that's Manasseh Azuri, and also Bright Simmons, who was with us last week on Key Point. And then also the NDC, who addressed the press on Monday. The man who addressed the press is here with us, raising fundamental questions about why this deal has to be subjected to further scrutiny beyond what the President has said in that statement. The majority in Parliament, led by the Majority Leader, addressed the press yesterday. Alexander Afenyomakin had this to say in reply to some of the demands that the NDC is making. Take a look.
There isn't any established proof of any officer of state causing financial loss to the state. Indeed, what they think are payment to SML are not payments born out of government revenue. If you peruse the agreement, SML is paid out of what it generates, and they would have to pay attention to the details. They are paid 0.05% per litre of revenue that they generate as a result of the system that they have put in place to monitor the downstream activities in our energy or petroleum sector. And it is instructive to also note that this company opened its doors to the Mines and Energy Committee to inspect and to see the nature of the operations. What I want to urge our colleagues in the opposition is that they should not kill Ghanaian businesses. Oftentimes, under the guise of due diligence, under the guise of ensuring that there's transparency, we often get out of control and destroy Ghanaian businesses. So we are of the view that what government has done so far, urging GRA to review and ensure greater transparency in a transaction with SML, is in the best interest of Ghanaians, and it confirms this government's commitment to ensuring transparency in governance.
So that's Alexander Apenyomakin also talking about the demands even for this report to be made public so that we all get to see, not just political parties, the civil society, even all of us as Ghanaians. He says that's neither here nor there because the report is for the information of the president and to guide him as well. This, I'll start with you, Mr. Mijemfi, because there were specific responses to some of the demands that you made in that press conference that you addressed on Monday. The majority leader says this SML is not paid from government revenue. I mean, that's really questionable, but really, that's one of the issues that you raised. So what is the issue in there?
My brother, let's call a spade and not a dig into. This SML scandal stinks to the high heavens. In my opinion, it is the biggest scandal Ghana has ever recorded. The biggest scandal. And no patriotic Ghanaian will or can justify or defend this, unacceptable transaction, which has occasioned a huge financial loss to the state. The reason why you can have the likes of Apenyomakin and the MPP majority defend this is because they have no love for country in them. And they have no respect for the truth. They have no respect for the people of this country. That is it. None of the things they have said makes sense. None of the things Apenyomakin has said is true. Everything and all the justifications he mounted in his press conference yesterday are contrived. Totally contrived.
What are those?
There are 5 parts of this SML scandal, the stinking SML scandal. The first has to do with the patent illegalities. You see, Ghana is a country governed by law. The award of contracts to entities must conform to the law. When you go to the law school and you are being taught contract law, the basic elements of contract law, one is legality. And you are told that illegality is a vitiating factor. You understand? And so you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. Once your contract is illegal, it is illegal. No valid payments can be made under an illegal contract under our laws. Why am I saying that the SML transactions, and bear in mind there are 4 transactions. One was not crystallized. They were caught pants down midway and has been aborted, which is the upstream audit transaction. So I will not talk about that. But the 3 has to do with 1 transaction audit agreement, external price verification number 2, and downstream petroleum audit. All these 3 contracts have been established by the 4th Estate, KPMG, and the president to be illegal. I am not the one saying it. Anybody should go and read the statement that was issued by Eugene Ahe, Communications Director of President Akufo-Addo. It is there. Paragraph 2. It is there. Why do I say so? This animal called SML, Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, did not exist prior to the MPP coming into office in 2017. It was a company formed barely 37 days after the MPP was sworn in. It was formed on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day, 2017. The person who incorporated it hitherto was running, and he owned and was running a timber company called Evans Timbers. He had never been involved in revenue assurance or auditing, has no prior experience in that area. Yes. Barely 4 months after he formed this company, which company was formed 37 days after the MPP won power, the government sought to engage this 4 months old company through sole sourcing to perform serious contracts for the state. At the time, the company had no customer, no client, no experience. This company was engaged. They sought to engage this company through sole sourcing to perform transaction audit services at the port. What does that mean? It means that government needed somebody who was going to ensure that the duties we pay at the port are correct and that nobody, steals from the state. The erstwhile regime had already awarded a similar contract to a company called West Blue. This new government comes into office and they seek to take that contract for a 4 months old company with no customer, client, or experience. They go to the Public Procurement Authority for the first time seeking approval, and the PPA say, no way. Sole sourcing is governed by Section 40 of the Public Procurement Act. This company doesn't meet the threshold. They don't have exclusive expertise. The transaction is not of an urgent nature, and we are not in any crisis. So sole sourcing is unjustifiable. Refused. They go again the second time. The PPA says adabraka, refused, rejected. They go the third time between June and September 2017. They went for 3, requests for sole sourcing approval, all of which were refused by the PPA, which ordinarily is a rubber stamp institution. But in this case, they stood their ground and said, no way. Who is this company? What is their track record? They don't even have a customer. Why must we give them such a job on sole sourcing basis? Why can't you open it up? You would have thought that these guys would have given up. But no. Hell-bent on achieving their own parochial interest, they then decide to go through the back door and then engage SML as subcontractor to West Blue without going to the PPA for approval, without even presenting the transaction to the GRA board to investigate, to discuss and approve. So they violate the PPA Act, they violate the GRA Act, then they violate the Public Financial Management Act, Section 33, which requires that any contract a state entity enters into with a private entity that goes beyond a year, we call them multi-year commitments, must be presented to Parliament for approval under Section 33. They violate all these laws. They give one contract to the company, transaction audit. Midstream, they add another, external price verification. Then they add downstream petroleum audits to this evergreen company, which till date doesn't have any customer aside the GRA. Giving this juicy contract against the laws of this country. And they have paid over 1 billion cedis, equivalent to 10 trillion old Ghana cedis, to this company under these illegal contracts. And they think they can get away with that. The second aspect of the transaction has to do with the fact that the president himself says that there was no value for money audits or needs assessment done before the contract. Some people just sat in the confines of their office and awarded the contract without any value for money or needs assessment. The third angle is the fact that there is glaring evidence of insider trading in the transaction.
What's the evidence? What's the evidence that you see?
You know the gentleman or that man called Mr. Christian Tetesotti, who was controller and accountant general under Kufuor at some point.
Yes, 2005, 2009.
Retired, back then. When President Kufuor came, he made him a technical advisor to the Commissioner General of GRA. So when GRA sought to engage SML illegally, and they were being refused by the PPA, this man was a technical advisor to GRA, advising GRA on how to illegally engage SML.
Well, he was when they engaged an assistant commissioner.
Yes, when they engaged GRA illegally, he was there at GRA. Immediately, SML, when they engaged SML illegally, he was there as technical advisor at GRA. Immediately, SML got the job. I say, it's time for me to abandon ship. Jumped from GRA, said, I won't work for the state again, I'm going to work for SML. And today, he's the managing director of SML. Clear insider trading. Totally unacceptable. This cannot happen in any serious country. That man would have been facing investigative bodies by now in any serious country. Then number 4 is the duplicitous nature of the transactions. No, I'm saying no man with a conscience can defend this. No man. Is Afenyo Makin more MPP than Mustafa Hamid? Mustafa Hamid was the one who said, Wallahi, we need to rescue our country. Former spokesperson of Akufo-Addo, now head of the National Petroleum Authority, representing the president. Mustafa Hamid is on record that what this company is doing is not necessary. The work is that of MPA, and MPA has a system called ERDMS, Enterprises Relational Data Management System, connected to ICOMS at the port that records every barrel of oil that comes into the country right at the point of entry at the port. The NPA has the data. When it is loaded, the NPA has the data. When it is offloaded at the retail points, they have the data. And already they are closing the loopholes and plugging all the leakages. And they are paying. They have engaged Rock Africa and ACES to help them to do this. SML's own IT guru. Go and watch Manasseh's documentary. The IT guru of SML, not Sami Jenfi, when confronted with this evidence, conceded that their work was duplicitous and unnecessary. The GRA, higher ups in the GRA themselves said on tape that we don't use any data from the work of SML as basis to collect revenue. The president himself says that SML only performed their obligations partially. Read the statements. And that the state did not get full benefit for the payments we made. And then Afenyo Makin says what? Does he know his worth as a member of parliament? Does he know the importance of the position he occupies? You, majority leader, the leader of parliament. A deal which by virtue of section 33 of the PFMA must come to you for approval has not come to you for approval. Section 90 of that law says when you contravene the PFMA, you have committed a crime. And you can go to jail for a term not exceeding 2 years and not less than 6 months. It is there, black and white. And you come and tell us no crime has been committed and that SML is not paid with revenue from the state revenue. Okay, so we use Afenyo Makin's personal money to pay SML. We use Afenyo Makin's personal money.
That cannot be.
That they are paid out of the revenue they generate. But the revenue they claim to generate, is it not government revenue? In any case, this company, KPMG says, at least according to the account of the president, he has seen the report, we have not seen. Read the president's letter. KPMG says, when they even asked SML to show them proof of the investment they claim to have made, they could not even provide one supporting document to justify the millions of dollars they claim to have. Those who are investigating this, we need to do medical examination on them. Psychological examination. What is wrong with us? You yourself says the deal is illegal. You say there was no value for money, no needs assessment. You say they have performed their obligations partially. We have not derived full benefits. You say they have not been able to justify their investments. And yet you want to give them another job. Why was Charlotte Osai removed as EC chairperson? For alleged breaches of the procurement law. In the NCA trial, why have people been jailed? For alleged breaches of the procurement law. And you breach the procurement law with impunity and come and tell us you have ratified. They should go and read. And I've told people, this thing about ratification, they don't really understand. That ratification thing was introduced in 2016 when we amended the procurement law. And it is found at section 90 of the amended law. But it is predicated on section 89. You can't wake up one day and go to the PPA and say, I violated the PPA law, so ratify. 89 says the PPA must appoint an investigator to investigate a procurement done by any covered entity. and the investigator has powers of entry, demanding documents and all that. When the investigator finishes his work, as part, he can recommend for the contract to be annulled, and he can recommend for the contract to be ratified. Until you go through the processes laid down in under Section 89, ratification doesn't arise. And in this case, they have not done that. So the ratification of the procurement breaches they are talking about doesn't even wash. But assuming without admitting that you have even ratified the procurement breaches, have you ratified the non-parliamentary approval spelled out under Article Section 33 of the PFMA? Look, people are in jail because of breaches of statutes that you can't even compare to this.
Okay.
You understand? In opposition, didn't they tell us that sole sourcing was tantamount to corruption?
Exactly.
What did they say about procurement breaches? And even appointed a whole minister for procurement who went on leave and to stay at the United States for God knows when she was still drawing salaries. Minister for procurement. You breach procurement laws, you breach the GRA Act. In the NCA case, the accusation was that they bought something of value for the state, a Pegasus machine, which was actually bought. But they said the board of GRA did not approve it, and that it was a subcommittee which approved it. In this case, it was not even presented to the board of GRA at all. If there is nothing amiss in this deal, why will you hide it from the board of GRA?
But if you look at the KPMG,
why will you hide it from PPA?
If KPMG is saying that there's a clear need for downstream petroleum audit service, does that mean that the NPA system in there is not doing what is supposed to be done?
What KPMG said was that they think that our oil revenue has gone up during the time that SML has been doing their work, okay? And so the president is saying that on the basis of that, SML should continue that work. But they forget that, like I said, you can't put something on nothing and expect it to stand. Even if there is a need for that work, it must be done lawfully. Once the law has been violated, you cannot tell them to continue. That's number one. Right. And the payments cannot stand. They must be retrieved. Number two, there is no evidence that shows a correlation between that increased revenue and the work of SML. Because there are factors that determine oil revenue, petroleum revenue in Ghana. One has to do with taxes on petroleum products. So if the government increased taxes like they have done, imposing boiler tax on petrol, imposing a new energy sector levy on petrol and all that, oil revenue will go up. The price has been going up. Today, you need 68 cedis to get a gallon of diesel. You understand? So if taxes are going up, government's oil revenue will go up. It doesn't mean SML has done focal. If you want to say that we have gotten value for money for the work SML has done, then show us one OMC or one BBC who has been caught, penalized on the basis of the work of SML. Show us one who has been convicted for tax fraud on the basis of their work, so that we see the correlation. What the people are doing, their own IT guru says is useless and irrelevant. The GRA has said same. Mustafa Hamid, who has the NPA, the regulator for that sector, has said same.
Except that Sapon says that he previously wrote a letter to praise them. She branded it on news last week.
You see, look, that letter the lady wrote, she has put a spin on it. Because all Mustafa Hamid said, what the lady is attributing to Mustafa, Mustafa didn't see in the letter.
They should bring out the letter.
Yeah, because what is in the letter is that they are interested in what they are doing because they are doing a similar thing.
So why is it that when Mustafa came on the documentary, he didn't admit that he knows them?
So for me, the point is that even if you want to do revenue assurance and you think GRA cannot do it and you want a private entity to do it, follow the law. Go do a value for money audit. Make sure the work they are doing and the payments we are making, we are getting value for money. Master, do you know what 1 billion cedis could have done for this country?
Well, not into
1 billion.
On the, if you look at the president's letter, point 2 says on 3 occasions between June 2017 and September 2017, GRA sought approval from PPA, and that's what Sami was making reference to use the single source procurement method to engage SML to provide transaction audit service. PPA did not grant that approval. Subsequently, GRA engaged SML as a subcontractor to West Blue, so using another route to achieve more of the same purpose. SML eventually took over the services provided by West Blue when West Blue's contract came to an end on the 31st of December 2018. GRA added external price verification to the services offered by SML and signed a downstream petroleum audit agreement with SML. That's also another issue that has to be questioned. all these were done without PPA approval. Following a change of leadership at GRA, the new leadership sought to regularize the contract. So how do you then regularize an irregularity?
Parliamentary approval.
Indeed.
And tell Alfred Ocansey to go and read that when he says
it goes
no law
on and on. In fact,
listen to what the president says.
Another issue raised by KPMG is the absence of parliamentary approval for the contracts, given that they are multi-year contracts, which must be approved by Parliament. So that's where the concern is. And we cannot. What are the fundamental questions that you expect that be addressed, at least to ensure that we guard against these leakages in the public finances?
First of all, this issue becomes of big concern, especially with the PDS in mind. Now, the PDS arrangement was very simple. Electricity Company of Ghana collects revenues. And then, for some strange reason, the government decides that another company should collect the revenue. PDS was not going to generate electricity. PDS was not going to provide any transmission facilities or infrastructure, nothing, just revenue collection. And the arrangement under which PDS contract was done is quite similar to this one. And those are the things that will raise concerns for public-spirited, nationally minded citizens. Now, first of all of the illegalities have been established beyond doubt. That this is a contract that you couldn't have said should go for sole sourcing. And all the explanations and the conditions under which sole sourcing can be done, whether it is under critical conditions, this is an emergency, this company is the only one that can produce it under very competitive conditions. None of these were met, and yet you go for a sole sourcing. This company is a nascent company, a company that was just born without any experience, no parliamentary approval, and people in government, including the majority leader, Alfred Ocansey, is defending this matter. I mean, it's very worrying, I tell you. When I read portions of the Fourth Estate report, investigation on this matter, where the president's own white paper on the report was even quoted, where the president admitted clearly that this contract, there are issues with it, the president still gave some space that the contract may be, cancelled, restructured.
Yeah.
This is an
government acting through the Ministry of Finance and GRA may terminate.
May.
With or without cause.
This is a very worrying matter because the monies that you are talking about is not, some Nigerian will say, not inconsiderable. the sums we are talking about are not inconsiderable, especially considering our current state, where we are fighting for IMF bailout. And we are desperate. We can't even find enough money to pay producers of LNG for our power producing companies. The doomsday that we are experiencing, when I checked, some of the technical people in the field are telling me now that it is about generation. Because for some time we had been told, oh, we don't have generational problem. It is just distribution. Now my information is that Talo, for example, has decided that they will not give LNG to government on credit anymore. The government is owing. So the government must pay.
Maybe you have to break down the LNG.
Liquefied natural gas. Yeah. That government must pay first. And we are hiring a company to pay the monies that, first of all, we don't have. 2, to perform a function that already NPA and GRA are performing, even if there are issues. So couldn't you use some of this revenue that is coming to help NPA and GRA to improve their own systems, such that you don't set up a company that is turning out to be quite dubious in the eyes of many people? The way this whole process has been rushed the way parliamentary approvals have been avoided, the way procurement laws have been flouted, the way the whole enterprise has been shrouded in such suspicions. Why should we put ourselves into this? Why should the government insist? Why should majority leader be defending such a matter? When GRA is telling you, when I checked the report that Fourth Estate did, they said GRA admitted they don't need SML data to be able to check what revenue they should collect from the petroleum sector.
And GRA is on video.
Yeah, they said they don't need. MPA said we are already doing this job. So why do you want to take it away from? You want to weaken the state's own institutions further. And mind you, the petroleum sector, whether you like it or not, is a highly strategic sector. It's a security sector. So for the government to be handling it as if it's business as usual, we haven't finished talking about PDS, we haven't finished talking about, and then the government is insisting. This would embolden the people who would tell you that this current government under President Kufuor is not interested in fighting corruption, but rather creating avenues for people to make dubious monies. Because if you have a timber company suddenly becoming a revenue assurances company, who would be comfortable with that? I think the government has to be very careful. Look, when people criticize these matters, when people raise these issues, I don't think they are being political. This has to do with billions of dollars. If in every year, SML is going to take $100 million minimum for 5 years, that is 500 million. Renewable, at least another 5 years. That is $1 billion. And then you are saying that the money that government is giving is not state money. So is the business state business? Is it the government that is awarding the contract, or is some private person who is awarding the contract? A private person has not awarded the contract to SML. It is the government. The government, the people in government, don't use their pocket money to construct roads or to pay for projects, public projects. It is the people's money that is used to pay for such public-oriented projects. So I think the defense of the majority leader, especially, Honorable Ofenyo Marking, he has to go back and look at what he's trying to defend.
He says no wrong has been done.
The government, no wrong has been done by violating procurement laws. No wrong has been done. No wrong has been done by violating parliamentary procedures. No wrong has been done by paying monies for services that GRA says they don't need. You know, sometimes you are not a technical person, but when you hear some of these things and you look at the background information and what is emerging, you ask yourself, the people in government, the people in public offices, are they really interested in doing things that would save us further hardships, or that they are looking for opportunities for their friends, themselves, and other people just to make money? That, for me, it makes this deal very smelly. And it is, I would advise the president and the government, pull the brakes all together on this arrangement. 2, whatever monies have already been paid, do a proper value for money audit. It is possible that at the end of the investigation, you might realize that monies that have been paid were unwarranted. Right. And they may have been paid wrongly, and then you retrieve them. 3, if it is the case that GRA and MPA and other allied institutions have any weaknesses in their structures and their infrastructure, their management systems, their data systems, their technologies, and so therefore are not able to perform optimally, the best thing to do, use just a fraction of all these resources to beef them up.
Right.
After all, if you consolidate the institutions properly, and you resource them properly, you don't need a duplication of the same institutions to perform the same functions. That is the problem with the fighting of corruption, where you have all manner of institutions scattered all over the place, and none of them is able to effectively fight corruption. That is the kind of case I'm seeing in this matter.
Not a concentrated approach. Lawyer Makwa, so you see there's a public interest question here. So even if there is a stated weakness or concern,
it's too much.
Revenue management in the downstream sector, the means to correcting it or addressing it should not create a problem by itself. And that's what even the president's own statement, and you see, because we have all not seen the details of the document, that in fact the KPMG's audit, the full of it, we are basing our analysis on the president's own statement that actually details and gives an indication that there was some wrongdoing from no parliamentary approval. You see,
what is in the
because, and that's why this call for the public to know, at least the publication of this report is extremely important. Well, the majority leader thinks otherwise, but really, in the interest of, shouldn't we all, some of these questions that the president's own statement has been raised, for instance, why Parliament did not get approval for this extension of the services of this company SML, these PPA approvals that were not obtained, and yet you have certain services being rendered by the company. Shouldn't we all be concerned in getting answers to this?
Well, thank you, Alfred. I want to say this. I'm not pivoting the question. I want to say this, that just like my senior brother said, we got the call very late. I called my call after 9 o'clock. And for a topic like this, if it was law, I can stand anywhere and talk law. When it comes to auditing and things like this, I think we need more information, more time. Now I have to scramble between now and then to get what has the president said. Oh, Sammy.
Well played.
No, but
if the chief communicator of Ejisu say well played, well, I would say thank you for
it's not new. It's something that's been running for the past at least 3 weeks or so.
No. It doesn't mean that we are coming here.
Yeah.
I'm a law lecturer, I'm this and that. So if I'm coming here, I have my students, they are writing my paper. I have my students watching me. Exactly. When I leave here, I'm going to vigilate. You see, so you need more. You need more. Martin. I don't know why these two people. They are haggling me today.
I'll give you more filler before you go.
I have a DRA petroleum downstream.
Wait. So please,
lawyer,
next time, give us ample time, give us information, you see, so that we can do justice to it. Again, as I said, as a legal practitioner and a law lecturer, when certain things are clear on the face of it, you don't dance around it. Okay, so of course, Section 33 is an issue. Now, it is the president's own white paper that is releasing all this. You see, so I draw much confidence from the president's white paper. Okay, it has. Sorry,
more like a press statement.
No. It's communications director. Oh, great, right. So, but I place more emphasis on this. Okay, and this itself is coming out with recommendations of KPMG. It's coming out with, and then it says here, the president has accepted the recommendations of KPMG and directs as follows. So it's not that there was this, the president said we will not accept, there are certain instances where the president will not accept this and we explain. He said, haven't accepted, now I direct as follows. So it's not that the president is not taking steps to stop whatever the irregularities were. It would be foolhardy on anybody's part, to come and sit on this August platform and say that regardless of the board not ratify or not agreeing to things and they went ahead and whatnot is immaterial. Just make sure that we have a lot of information. So when we come and we're dealing with matters like this, we do just, as I said, I keep on underscoring it. We need to protect the public purse. We need to, especially when they sit on platforms like this.
Indeed.
Are you really a bit?
And
You're a bit different from them.
that's the first time you're meeting me. There are a lot of us within MPP, a lot, including Alhaji Bawumia, that you are. There are a lot of us. Including Alhaji Bawumia. That is why. That is why. Martin, that's what you want to say. That is why. That is why Alhaji Bawumia will look at digitalization, so that he cuts out the human interface, so machines will do their work. I said he cuts out. You see, they have confirmed walking into the lions. Then you see, they have confirmed that. You see, they have confirmed that. I am sorry, I'm still bringing my hand here. Sorry. You see, they are confirming walking to the lions. That issue. You see, that is why we're seeking to do that. You see. When it comes to corruption in this country, yes, it's easy to point fingers at public officials and whatnot. Those people who have stayed in the ministries, public servants and civil servants for a long time, nobody looks at them. Nobody looks at them at all. If we really want to come against corruption, let us stop the backs and forth and look at the potholes. This SML thing was brought in so that because even in the report it says there's clearly an underreporting. My senior brother here did not say that there's no underreporting. He is saying that the money that we gave to these people, we should have used that to solve the problem. Yes, but that's a long term. No, that's a long term project.
No, it's not a long term.
We need to.
These monies are coming in right now.
Senior brother.
So if it's a matter of technology, it's a matter of expertise.
Senior brother. Now you're also joining them. Senior brother.
No. I just
follow the law. Go to Parliament for approval. Go to.
I'm not disputing that at all. But I'm saying that because we need to seal all the portals across the value chain, okay. And this clearly has shown that when they came in, we increased the stock. It is clear. In fact, the DRA boss also said that.
It's not that no.
So I think this one, there is some factual error there. Now, one of the factors that saw the increase in revenue from the petroleum sector was consumption.
Yes.
Increased consumption.
Simple. Nominal increase in consumption. That was one of the big factors, not because of the work that SML did. Yeah. That was established by the KPMG report.
Yes. You have seen the report.
Portions of it. I've seen portions of it.
Well, I wish. You see, that's what I'm saying. I wish.
I had to go and look for it myself.
No, but I'm saying
they didn't give me any information.
I wish we all of us get the report so that we can do justice. If you want to call us back, so be it. So that we all do justice to that. So I'm relying on this paper from the presidency and talking to it. And I'm saying that clearly they themselves are saying that yes, there are infractions. Nobody should dispute that. Okay. When we get the full picture, we can come back and deal with the vexed matters. Where the chip falls, it falls.
Well, Council,
sorry, and there are a lot of us. To the first time you're meeting me.
This to be made public, because we spoke about this last week, so maybe you just spend a couple of minutes on this. That demand for this report to be made public, you would expect that will be supported, but the majority leader makes the point that report, the KPMG audit report, is for their advisory of the president, not really for public consumption.
Yeah, so it's interesting. You know, sometimes these things
in a few minutes on this.
Yes, some of these things that we do here, you know, when I say do here, that's in Ghana, is for the advice of the president, is national security, etc. You know, you look at it, and I like to read, you know, some of these books, history in America, just to see. We found parallels like that. When you look at this book, Waging War on Corruption by Frank Vogel, Right, as part of it, chronicling corruption, blah, 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 at a point, and I'm making this also in reference to Afenyo Markin's point that we are destroying Ghanaian business. No, when you read this book, you see how he references one case after another of big American firms. Last week, I mentioned the case of Mobil. Mobil we see today now, they've changed Exxon, Gulf Oil, etc. Yes, so you even see more today, right? And also the point that businesses are often corrupt. Businesses are often corrupt. Look at this, what do you call it, statement here. So that it serves as a preamble for us to go in. He says that at the opening hearing, Houghton challenged Senator Church by declaring that bribery was part of global business. Huh? Yeah, that bribery was part of global business. It was the way things got done. He admitted that his firm had made foreign payments to politicians in the previous 4.5 years of around $22 million, etc. Right? So these are some of, and that's the CEO of Lockheed. Lockheed of California. Now I'm wondering whether Lockheed of California is the same as now what they have. You know, now it's Lockheed Martin.
Yeah. Council, what we round up.
Yeah, so the point is that everywhere serious governments take on corrupt businesses. They take them on. You can't come and sit here. It's like what Professor Jampo said last week, crabology, that we are destroying our own. Please, let's not make such arguments.
Okay.
Nano Hinito has made the point that you watch the video, and I also watch. When they ask, and even Sami Jemfi made the same point, when they ask the IT guru, Ibrahim Abubakar, they say, your technology and the GRA zone, which one is better? Then he said the GRA one, the metering technology. Okay. He said that one was better. He said that one was better. Then you find again, come to this part, Mustafa Hamid, like I mentioned earlier. When I left here, if you monitor other stations, Sewa Sapon, she brought a letter that Mustafa Hamid knew about the contract. Yet in the video, Mustafa Hamid said he is now going to check. Yeah, check. News file last week. Sewa held the letter. Maybe we should read the content, but she's very clear that Mustafa Hamid knew about the contract. So he was lying, once again doing crocodile tears in the Manasseh documentary. Okay. Because in the documentary, he now said he wants to see. And you even see that he was interviewed in July last year. And the documentary came out in November. So between July and November, what did Mustafa Hamid do? You see how these guys will just fleece us. They'll steal everything.
And these are fundamental questions.
I say that we are targeting Ghanaian companies.
You said
Papa was Indium.
That's very unfortunate.
Amwabe and before. Were they from Kuwait? Are they Zimbabweans?
Well, talk about Ghanaian businesses.
What is against the Ghanaian? If you're operating and you're dealing with government, do so lawfully.
Okay.
That's all.
That's all.
Do so lawfully. Nobody's against any company.
About power outages, because the businesses and indeed individuals have all been complaining about this. And let's hear from the president.
Few days, we have witnessed stable electricity supply across the country, with no load shedding reported anywhere yesterday. For the past 7 years, we have worked tirelessly to keep the lights on, and I am confident that the unfortunate era of doom so will not return.
No. So, is this a true reflection of your situation, that this unannounced power outages, however I want to call it, have ended? This was as of Tuesday, so the president spoke on Wednesday, so he said the day before. So there's no one who slept in darkness since Tuesday. Well, I did on Thursday, and in fact this morning even before I left, I had to come and iron this shirt in the office at around 6 a.m.
Should I start it?
No.
Okay.
Nana?
It's difficult for me to say that the president's word should be taken for it. I think if he did announce it on Wednesday, then we need to get a sense of what is happening, because my son is in Takrady, and he's been reporting to me frequently that there are power outages. Of course, I'm experiencing power outages in East Legon.
I see.
Yeah. So right now, the president has spoken that from Tuesday or Wednesday, it's going to be a thing of the past, or that it is a thing of the past. Let's see what comes from across the country.
Well, we're getting from across the country.
Yes, and then we can
the situation hasn't changed.
Yeah. I don't want to be.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it, tying it with the news that came yesterday that Ghana ranks as 4th most stressful country for workers in sub-Saharan Africa. 4th most stressful. Look at Dumso. It's part of the problem. It's part of the problem. You see, the president.
You told me at that point you had to work from your car because.
Yes.
If you are in the shower, if you are in the shower, and the water pump went off, and you put soap on your face, then you know how stressful.
Exactly.
That's also about office.
Yes. Last Friday I worked from my car, and then Tuesday too. The same. Adabraka Tuesday. Lights were out, right, on Tuesday. Okay. And then yesterday night at home for about 2 hours, before it came back. And then did you hear the statement by Napo? Look, I think Napo should be stopped from these things. He should be stopped. He has no empathy for us. You go before a committee, listen to what he's saying. When people are in pain, is that how you talk to us? Listen, that we've gone past the era where we had 72 to 96 hours of lights out to 6 hours of lights on. We are in the era of doomsday, which is profoundly different from doomsaw. I mean, Napo, does he understand public service? We are in pain, and this is the politicking he chooses to do. After insulting us that we're evil, after insulting us, is Napo okay?
Oh, right. Well,
is Napo okay?
Let me thank you. I think
that to Sami first.
No, let's.
Yeah, go first.
No, but it's fine. If you want to, it's okay.
He's my senior brother. The senior at the bar, so I'll go first. Look, what is playing out show two things. The number one, the ruling MPP government led by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia are totally dishonest. These are a bunch of liars. You can't take their word for it. That is it. Number two, that these people have no respect for Ghanaians, because you can see the display of obscene arrogance and insensitivity to the plight of Ghanaians. At first, he said it was not doomsaw. What is the English name for doomsaw? Low shedding. So they said there was no doomsaw. Now the president says low shedding has been solved. How do you solve a problem which never existed? There was no doomsaw. Now you say you have solved low shedding. You have solved doomsaw. Then they said, oh, this problem was because 630 transformers had been, overloaded. Right. The PULC investigated it and established that it was false. They lied. Now the president comes to tell us that they've solved the problem. Doomsaw is over. Then the night before he spoke, I slept in Doomsaw. The day he spoke, that Tuesday, May Day, there was Doomsaw at Pantine, Snake Flats, Obojo, Adenta, Madina, Takrade, Spintex Road, all those areas, Doomsaw, the day he was speaking. The day after he spoke, ECG issued a statement indicating that there will be Doomsaw. But the excuse was that it was because of a rainstorm. That was the reason for the Doomsaw. My Joy FM actually went to those sites, those stations of ECG. Yeah. There was no flooding there. Yeah. Nothing. I have the video on my phone, no flooding. So they lied just to justify the lie which was told by the president. Okay. And I just to conclude, let me just end and tell you, yesterday, they shared load. So Abodom at OP, Asanso, SD, I have the list here. Right. I got this from an insider at Greco. Abrankese, Antoa, Asawase, Asenua, Besiase, Ejisu, Asotwen, Botwen, Boshen Complex, Fanchinebra, GH Water, Kenti Krono, Guinness One, Kokote, Kokoso, Kofru, Krono, Gumawu. All these areas in Asante region, that was Doomsaw yesterday, Lucia.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Because
so the president said
Demand is
that
around 3,000.
the president extended his heartfelt gratitude to Ghanaians for their patience and understanding during recent temporary challenges. It does not mean that we do not admit that there are no challenges. Indeed, even before there was a doom, so there are instances where it rains and there's a power outage. And so you cannot say that because he says something and there's some power outage, then there is doom. So he said we will not return. We will not return.
There have not been any load shedding the day prior.
Oh, man, no, he didn't say that. He said that we will not return to doom. So
as he was
when
speaking,
it comes when it comes to power outages, okay, people experience it themselves. When he's saying that we will not return, it means that we have taken steps to solve it. It does not mean that in your locality you may not experience them. So I mean, we all live in Ghana. Let's be frank with the people of Ghana.
Well,
he's saying that we have taken steps. Okay, so it doesn't mean that even before President Mohammed's doom, so there were instances where there will be power outages.
Okay,
and so let's treat that as power outages that occur on the normal run. Now, if the days going ahead, it becomes the same as it used to be, then we have a cause. But he gave that when? On the 1st of May, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Today it said,
ended, and that 24 hours
and
before,
as we said,
there was no load
he said,
that's what he said.
He said, we have taken steps to solve that. And actually apologize. So when you say that the minister, honorable minister, does not care about the people, the president himself has apologized. And even said that he has his heartfelt gratitude to God. You see, all of us, was it here that I said that there was a day I packed my box to go to my house to work. As I was getting home, I realized the area, am I not being affected?
Well, you are.
So
and that's
we have
why
to take steps.
the reality
and we are
check
taking steps.
has to be on. This one here
so we are taking steps. It's not that we are not doing anything. There was a minister who gave himself 6 months that he will resign if it happened.
At least the minister gave us a timetable.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
When he demands that, we will do it. But the most effective thing to do was to take steps to solve it.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. Not just to publish the timetable. We are taking. It is part of the issues we have to. It is part of the issues we need to take into consideration. The most important thing is we are taking steps to solve it.
This one from Theophilus says Kwabenya and ex-environment lighter of Pokwasi as well, and for the number of them. Thank you very much, Lawyer Kingsley Amwakwa, private legal practitioner, member of the MPP. Nana Oheninto, thank you so much for coming, and it's really good to see you. We hope to have more of you going forward. And also to you, Martin Pebu, private legal practitioner, thank you so much for joining us. Private legal practitioner Sami Jemfi, National Communications Officer of the NDC, thank you for joining us. Professor Bafwa Jimendria as well, and thank you very much for joining us. I was clothed this morning by Willie's Clothing. Look out for them on social media. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Have a great weekend.
You'll ever taste.
Hi, baby.
Hi, Mom.
Hope you're having fun at Granny's. Yeah, but Grandma doesn't have my favorite top chocolate spread. Hi, Mom. Mommy, please, I miss top chocolate spread on bread.
Tasty too. Made just for you and me. Top choco, it's chocolate choco. It's chocolate choco. It's chocolate choco. Top choco, it's chocolate.
Surprise children!
Yay! It's chocolate choco.
The taste of chocolate.
This advert is FDA approved.
They are coming from all over the country and even beyond. They are coming to take their place at the table of champions. It's not just a race, it is a movement. 3FM presents Tour du Ghana 2024, the ultimate cycling event, a tour of sheer endurance, grit, power and perseverance. So seasoned riders, professionals and leisure riders, mark your calendars for May 18, 2024. 3FM Tour du Ghana is back with a thrill this year. Start point is at the Media General Premises Kanda to the Scenic and Price Hotel in the Eastern Region. Register at